for more staff to show up.
Do we want to do an at staff ping or?
Well, it pings at everyone, so they should have gotten it too. There's no need to ping staff.
I thought the event only pinged the people who'd signed up.
No, it says
Bonjour.
ping. It says ping at everyone.
No, fair enough. I didn't get anything, but that could be just because I'm in here.
Possibly. He needed.
Yeah, I don't think I've gotten notifications for previous ones.
I got the ping on my phone, but like I have like the red thing, so yeah, that means that I don't get it on my computer, but that's fine.
Oh, you run Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
How many
Hello.
absentee ballots did he get?
I have 3 from 7D, Missa, and Chief. Okay. Oh, hi, Vicky. And Skelly.
Hi.
All right. Let's get started then. Welcome everyone to the October General Staff Meeting. In attendance right now, AP Needham, Vicky, Skelly, Simon, and myself. I have some absentee ballots from a few people, but I'll express those when needed. For the purposes of this meeting, we usually go look at the conductors first, but because there is a review of the conductor process in 5A, we're going to do that first before we go jump back to topic 4. So let's go to 5A. And yeah, Simon, do you want to start off with the first one there?
Yeah, we'll do. So something that wasn't really discussed at when the conductor rank was created, but for staff members, the question is: should staff members be able to demote straight into conductor rank? I personally believe that they shouldn't be able to. I think it's sort of akin to saying I'm going to demote to Premier, even though you may only have a mayor town. Just because a rank is below your current rank, doesn't mean you can go into it. I also look at the most common reason for people to step down, which is lack of availability, and actually then it's at that point it's completely counter to what conductor is meant to be there for, which is to provide an in-game service. Therefore, I think the standard rule should be set that that staff should only be allowed to step down to their town rank, and if they wish to become a conductor, they should have to apply again in the future.
I can see the reasoning there, particularly if it's for activity, but I think if it's a case of not wanting as much responsibility, still wanting to be, still wanting, but without, say, the responsibility of town voting or resolution, etc., then that I can see that being a good reason to kind of step down.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that staff should never become conductors. I just think because it is a different application process with different criteria, staff should have to go through they should have to go through the conductor application process.
I generally agree with Simon here. I I mean, if the entire point of conductor rank is for people being active, then having staff resign to conductor because of inactivity, kind of defeats the point. What I'm not really sure about is making this retroactive, though.
But why not? Because we're not saying so retroactively. We've had Moj and Protocol both step down to conductor. For me, both of them in their letter stated a lack of availability as as one of the reasons for. Therefore, I think to ensure parity with those people that have applied for conductor, they should have to go through the application process. I'm not saying they should never be conductor. I'm just saying they should have to be subject to the same application process.
Realistically speaking, if we do, I don't see I'll put my teeth back in and try again. Realistically speaking, I don't see any sort of situation where we would approve somebody for a moderator but would not approve them for conductor.
Except if they're going to be very inactive, right?
Yeah, because I mean, really, it's like, I mean, when promoting, it's kind of like activity is kind of a factor in both, but like for continued maintained holding the rank, activity for mods doesn't seem as big of a deal as it is for conductors. So keeping them around as inactive and conductors, once again, is just a little self-defeating.
Simon, I'm gonna
And like I said at the start, you can't choose to step down into Premier if you've only got a mare town. Just because you're above a certain rank doesn't mean you can step down into it.
Well, I have a little thought experiment, and like, I mean, you might not agree with me at all, but like if the only difference is like that we have like a few people who may not always be as active but are still regularly active enough, like to meet like the 3 month thing, then I mean, like, does it hurt that we have like former staff who are like a bit less active than other conductors, but
I think it does hurt, actually. Yeah, I think all conductors should be subject to the same standard. I don't think being a former staff member should play into that at all.
Yeah, that's just my thought experiment, but I can agree with that as well.
And furthermore, let's just say that staff resigns and then staff resigns into like a normal rank, like let's say Premier, for example, and then applies and becomes conductor at some later point. Would they be subject to a different standard because of that? I don't think they should.
No, fair. Yeah. Well, that's just a thought experiment I wanted to do. But like, good that like we're on one line here as staff, so good to hear that.
Yeah, I can see that.
So sorry, where are we with this exactly? Because I'm not sure.
Is there anyone present or in the absentee ballots who are opposed to these suggestions?
I will say, yeah, so 70 didn't provide any opinion about it, but Missa did say that he agrees with Simon's reasoning for this suggestion. However, I wonder, basically echoing you, Vicky, like, I wonder if we really need to backdate this amendment for Mojang protocol specifically.
My suggestion could be to force protocol and Mojang to go through the conductor vote process again. I don't know if that's going to be considered excessive or not.
No, I think it's like with the reasoning we just did, like everyone needs to be like to that same standard, and like if they would like with their activity now, like the last 3 months, if they would meet that, then at the next GSM that could be like dealt with and they could get it back. But
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
otherwise, it's a double standard.
I'm not saying that merging protocol should never be conductor. I'm just saying they should have to apply themselves and go through that that GSM voting.
Okay. Sorry,
Well,
I have to.
sorry.
Sorry, I just want to let Chief. I just want to say Chief said he's overall in favor of this. That's all I'm going to say there. Go ahead, Vicky.
I was about to suggest, how about we do a similar thing from like Dalt after Modgate. I know I hate using that example, but it fits. Demote them now, but allow them to like exempt them from the 3-month waiting requirement. So they would be able
Oh
to
yeah,
apply
absolutely.
for-
Yeah, I mean the 3-month waiting period is following a failed conductor applicant. They have not failed a conductor applicant, therefore can apply immediately.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I'm going to provide a counterexample to. I'm not saying I'm in favor or not in favor, but I just want to provide an example of why maybe this doesn't matter as much. Like how conductor and moderator have turned out to be, it seems like conductor, they're mostly doing role edits, and that's their main responsibility, whereas moderators aren't actually doing as much role edit. They're mostly on the enforcement side, and they do the city rank reviews and all that sort of thing. So based on the amount of responsibility, like having a moderator demoted back to conductor, I feel like it still balances out. Like they're basically trading one set of responsibilities for another. In a way, they're actually, for people like Protocol or Moj, one could argue that they're actually now more responsible for world edits, or they're more expected to be doing that stuff, right?
I agree with that, but I think they should have to go through the application process because it still should be a parity of entry.
Well, and I also want to counter that frontal with as like it's that only applies when there are both like conductors and mods present. But like I get plenty of times when like I'm the only like world editor available, and then you still have that same responsibility. And also when there are like conductors there, like sometimes they're just all in different like projects, and then I step in as well. So I don't think it's that much more balanced in that sense.
Okay.
Well, I think for right now, I haven't heard anyone voice strongly otherwise, but at least it seems like we're actually kind of on board for both suggestions, but at least the first suggestion.
I'm not sure how much this should grandfather through,
Yeah.
in particular for margin protocol.
Yeah.
Well, that's the second suggestion.
Yeah. That question's still up in the air. Like, should we backdate this? Should this apply to those two who've already resigned?
So, I mean, are we saying yes to the first suggestion now?
I think what's been I haven't seen any major like opposition to it except for what I suggested, but like it seems like most people are on board. Like there should be at least some sort of reapplication process of some sort.
I mean, I can see it, but I think usually when people when mods would want to demote themselves to conductor, I think in most cases, which is probably what we should benchmark it on, is that they notice that they have less time, and they want to at the time that they are on the server, they want to help others by doing the world edits, but also be able to do world edits themselves, which I mean they're used to it. So I mean, why wouldn't they want to do that? But like they don't have the same availability as it's like required of like other staff members. Otherwise, they would probably still be mod or would not work. What do you think? I mean, it's a different like availability as well because like I don't know. It's complicated. I thought it made sense, but then it didn't. So, can someone else? Simon, do you have like sense like I mean you have the topic, so you're what does the public say?
Right now they're talking more about other, well, related things. We'll get to those in a sec, but Simon, what's your preference on the whole grandfathering thing?
My preference would be that they have to reapply. I mean, could we strike a compromise and allow them to continue in the rank for the month, but they will have to reapply at the next available opportunity, because that sort of splitting the difference out with that we're still allowing them to serve whilst still ensuring they do go through the process.
I do have to ask this question. Like, if they were a staff and they do reapply, what's the likelihood that we'd be saying no? Right? Is it just simply like
Barring
inactivity?
activity.
It's likely to be a question of activity, which I think needs to be demonstrated, given they both said they would be reducing.
What are the activity requirements? The hard requirements
The
currently
requirements are so basically, they're at the moment how it's measured is we look at the last 3 months of a candidate, and we look at how many logins they've done onto the server and how many days out of the month they've been active. And this is strictly in game. Discord doesn't count.
Yeah.
So Simon, like, I'm just wondering if it's worth the whole application process might be a bit, again, too much. Could an alternative be is when they resign, could their activity be reviewed at that time, right then? Like we check.
I don't necessarily think right then, because that would spin up a lot of work to review it outside the meeting. But they have to do
at
it
the next meeting or something,
right? So it's like
I don't have a problem with, well, I don't even have a problem with staff members putting themselves through the process when they are still staff, applying for conductor as a staff member. I just want to make sure that everyone to get conductor has to apply.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems a bit. My opinion right now is it seems a bit a lot of overhead, or too much overhead for what it is. I'm just trying to see if there's a way that it could be, streamlined a little bit.
Why do you say there would be overhead? Because I think this would be a fairly rare occurrence. Like, staff members step down probably once every 3 months.
Well, it's already happened. There have been 2 in the last.
Okay, yeah.
Since, right? So it's like it seems a little bit circuitous for them to just get out of the role and then reapply, and then the likelihood again, they probably wouldn't get voted down because of, their inability to do the role because they were already staff, right? Like that's highly unlikely. But I'm just saying, like, if they're going to be evaluated for activity, why not just do it at the time of resignation rather than having them wait, up to a month?
I just wonder then, it just creates another thing for people to do, whereas if it's all captured as part of the monthly GSM agenda, then it just makes it simpler to manage, because that is where all new conductors come in.
I can see that.
And then, like, we don't always know. Sometimes people announce it on the day. That's a lot of action for us to spin up and review in quite a short period of time.
I think this would only happen if they indicate their intention to remain as conductor, right? So, yeah. Yeah,
and I think they should. I mean, I don't even have an opposition to staff members going through, like, submitting themselves for conductor while they are still in the rank of staff member, as long as they aren't actively voting on themselves, obviously. Okay. But I just think it's easier to have everything captured in that GSM.
But like sometimes, like I can imagine plenty of times where like a staff member like only like makes the decision or like goes public with the decision, like on the day itself, and then like you wouldn't like.
Okay, if
Yeah.
I mean that's up to them. If they don't want to go public, then they will step down, and then subsequently they can reapply.
Okay.
But if like the option is with them, they either announce on the day, or they can announce in advance, and then
Yeah.
while they're still they're still a staff member, they apply.
Okay. I think I'm starting to see your argument, Simon. Like, you just want to keep it as simple as possible, right?
Hmm.
So just if they resign, get out. They have to do the whole process. Like, no, I think we're trying to get rid of like any sort of special cases or that sort of thing, right? Again, so going back to Mojang Protocol, what are we doing with them? Like, are we going to demote them now, in accordance with what we decide here?
That is true, because we do have the second subtopic, which might change things a little bit. That is a decent point.
Do we want to talk about the second topic then?
We can do, but just to close with this one, I think the easiest thing to do is they just reapply at the next GSM.
Okay, yeah. We'll come back to this. So, can we at least agree that we'll just, if they resign from mod, there is no path to conductor, and like no direct path to conductor. They have to reapply. Are we in agreement with that, at least that part?
Yeah, that's basically what I wrote. I said effective immediately, staff cannot resign directly into conductor and must apply for the rank at the following GSM.
But there's still a remaining question of whether this is retroactive for Mojang Protocol. Because to me, it sounds like we're not sure. Does that sound about right, or am I reading this wrong here?
Well, let's just go to the second topic, because that can backwards inform what we do.
Okay, we'll come back to that part then. So the second part is conductor term limits. Simon, you want to provide some details about this?
Yeah, pretty much. We at the point of application, we assess the activity. However, there's no mechanism currently to ensure that activity remains, because at the moment, if a conductor were to go long-term inactive, they could still come back 5 months later and have the rank and have world edit access. Whereas that obviously isn't in the spirit of what the rank was made for. So I believe that there was talk about having a set term limit, so they automatically get demoted after 12 months. I think that's going to be more effort than is worth it. Therefore, I think the best option is at these GSMs, we look at either at set intervals. We review the staff's activity since the last renewal, effectively. Oh, sorry, not the staff's, the conductor's activity since the last renewal, to ensure they continue to serve the MRT and are maintaining appropriate activity to hold the rank still.
How long do you want these term limits to be? Or not term limits, but these reviews? How frequent do you think they should be?
I think either every 6 or every 12 months.
Adding on to that, I think it should be like everyone gets reviewed at once, just to kind of reduce complexity and overhead, and so we're not talking about it every single GSM. Sorry.
I'm not sure I agree with that, because that means every 6 months there is just 20 cases to review. It's
Yeah, but we also have to keep track of everyone. If we do it it starts a 6 month timer, like the GSM, they get promoted, for example.
Yeah. I can also see the thing of.
I don't think it'd be that hard to track. Just put a note in the member list against last renewal or whatever.
Sorry, AP, go ahead.
I can see if we do the thing of 6 months or 12 months or whatever it is, I can see situations where, you know, somebody who's been promoted the month prior having it, we probably don't need to assess them. So it's, I don't know if there's a good solution there.
Sorry. So I just want to just preface, it's for people who don't know why this topic is here, the term limit is, it's because this is a proposed solution of a bigger problem, in my opinion, and I think Skelly has hinted at it. It's more the case of, do we have too many conductors? And one of the things I brought up was the conductor rank wasn't, I think it was originally supposed to be something where it's, you know, someone who's trusted enough to do it, but not too many people will be able to be a conductor. But what I'm starting to see is now we're getting to a point where at least most of the active people are conductors, and it'll get to a point where it's like, well, like if everyone's a conductor or most people are conductor, then like what's allowing, there's less opportunity for people to help others, which is kind of the point of the rank. So so that's the bigger overall issue. This is one of the proposed solutions. There might be other solutions, but I'm not sure if we want to discuss those as part of this at all.
I have a really wild idea, and you might just shoot it down immediately. But what if we include as part of like sort of term limits that we do an evaluation after like 6 months or something, whether the person can best like stay as conductor or should leave for inactivity or other reasons, or like give an opportunity to be moderator, like have a like stream in that way, like that I can.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut that one down. At least
I
the
thought
moderator,
so.
because remember the point of the conductor rank was to be not staff at all, and
Mhm.
their conduct as a conductor, we've pretty much said that it doesn't have too much bearing. Like there's some bearing, but it's not overall.
At least the activity part.
The activity
which-
part, there's some responsibility part. Like they've shown that they can world it and not, you know, screw it up or.
and because
But hold
Yeah.
on. The part that conductor doesn't show is, can they enforce the rules? Can they resolve
Yeah.
conflicts? Can they, like, though that sort of stuff conductor doesn't show, right?
Yeah, I know, but just the fact that like they have shown that they can handle some responsibility, and like it might give them like
Yeah,
now like nobody currently applies for moderator, they all go for conductor, and like if they, I mean, why would you want to be moderator if like you don't really care too much about like how it functions, as long as you can help your friends with World Edit and build with World Edit yourself. Like,
if anything, the one good thing that actually came out of conductor is it now gives people who want to help out a way to do it, but it also kind of shows that people, and this is kind of being a little bit cynical here, like people who've tried to become moderator might just be doing it mainly because they want World Edit, because that was how it was before, right? Like now it's separate in that sense that if you want to apply to moderator, it's a different set of responsibilities, but it at least I would like to think that it helps filter out people who actually want to help in that way rather than just wanting to get World Edit.
yeah, and like with my thing, like the moderator pipeline, as I want to call it, like people should always have the opportunity to say like, hey, I want to be considered for it or not. But like if they like know that it's like an option and that it's like that we welcome people, like the only way that like nominations really got off the ground was when it first started, and when there was the nomination Discord, which the second thing like we weren't really the biggest fan of, I heard. So I think if people like have a way to contribute and like choose whether they, like because we already weeded them out. Like if they don't want the responsibility of moderators,
Mm-hmm.
they can just say like, "Hey, I don't want to be not considered for moderator," and like they have already the opportunity to do everything they want with conductor in that case.
Yeah, but
And then
but Nina, there's
yeah.
one thing I forgot to mention. Like the critical part is we don't want conductor is not a staff rank, and we also wanted to make them send the message the conductor is not a stepping stone to moderator. We made that really clear when we set up the rank.
Okay, yeah.
So if I don't, what you're suggesting, if you're still sticking with it, is like, yeah, that's a non-starter.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
But then what's the big issue with like having like the number of conductors that we currently have? Because I'm getting, sorry if I'm getting a bit like winded up, but like there's definitely a lot of times where I'm still the main person online doing the role edits. And like if the so at one hand you say like there's too many people, at the other hand people aren't really like I'm sorry, I'm just
I think it might be a
winded
case.
up.
I think it might be a case of like, even though you have a lot of conductors, it doesn't mean that it's going to be coverage all the, like 100% of the time.
I
Again,
get that.
that's impossible to achieve.
I know.
Right? Like there might be cases when they're just. It might be a case of maybe the conductor. We might need to look at conductor time zones, or when they're probably most online or something like that. Like just see where, like, again, conductors have their IRL stuff. They're not going to be on all the time. It's all kind of random, and not something that we can really measure too easily.
But it sounds like you're measuring like the amount of conductors mostly up on like the top of like when there are like a lot of conductors on. Well, there's definitely a lot of downtime, which I don't know if you see it, because like I feel like the time zones between us are kind of different as well. Like I see quite a bit of time where like it's just like, especially like the Asian time zone, that's still an issue.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
ancient time zones have always been an issue with, regardless of staff levels, and that may well be because proportionally speaking, most staff are in American and European time zones, and we, admittedly, we are less likely to see potential moderator candidates in the Asian time zones. That's part of what our and that is part of what these various processes have been trying to fix.
Also, I'm mostly just talking about the trend I'm seeing so far.
Mhm.
Like right now, we have, given the current. I'm not saying the current conductor numbers are too high, but there are 8 candidates we're looking at today, and again, it's only been a few months. But if there's always like that number, or maybe a few at each meeting, it gets to the point where like everyone's like it's going to be a majority of people being conductors, is what I'm trying to say. Like and what I'm saying is a majority of the active player base, and that doesn't sit well with me. That seems like that's not what we tried to make this rank into.
Okay. Anyway, so we probably went on a bit of a tangent because of me. I'm sorry.
No, it's worth talking about. It's just more like, again, this is my opinion of whether, like, and there are a couple of people who also share this. Like, it seems like we're getting too many conductors, which is not what the original intention was. So hence why we're talking about this topic. Like,
do you have like sort of a goal percentage in mind of like active players having conductor?
I have no idea. Like, again, when we started the rank, we had no idea how this would even turn out to be. I did
Yeah,
say
that's fair.
I did say like there might be a case where we just run away with too many conductors, and I just want to see if we can address that before it gets to that point.
Yeah.
I mean,
So I
one
want
option, one of the concerns is if one of the concerns is getting people into the staff ranks, should the number of conductors be somehow defined against how many staff we have, almost like double the number of staff, that is our max number of conductors. But the problem is with setting a max threshold is then how do you circle through to give people that aren't one of those first 30 or however many the chance to step up.
I actually had a radical idea. Feel free
Yeah.
to, again, this is a need and like idea, sorry, but it's feel free to shoot it down. Is maybe it's okay to have this many conductors, but maybe it gets to the point where maybe it should just be a trustee perk, because at that point, like,
What worded it should be a trustee perk?
yeah, like
It's
it would require.
Well,
Hold on, it would require trustee to be more scrutinized. Just it could be scrutinized at the same level as conductor, perhaps.
Yeah.
But
I think the
Should
issue.
that then be detached from the town ranks? Because someone can't get to conductor, or the current conductor standards, should they be stopped from getting through the town ranks?
Yeah, we'd have to decouple that. We would have to decouple that somehow.
that is true. Yeah, I didn't think that far. But
Yeah.
I mean, we already have, you know, that what's decoupled. What is decoupled are the supporter ranks. You know, obviously senator plus, etc. But having effectively a fourth ranking system that's decoupled, so you know, member currently, you know, member, trustee, mayor, senator, etc. Missed out councillor. We have, you know, staff, so moderator, admin, and then we have supporter. Those are three. If we were to decouple trustee, that would be a fourth thing, and I don't know if that would be too much to keep track of.
that already sounds too
That's a
complicated.
good one.
Yeah.
put a star next to everyone's name who's a trustee.
I mean, trustee could be tracked on the same thing as staff, and rather than just calling it staff ranks, you call it additional responsibilities. But
Yeah.
but I'm not
like-
massively in favor. It'd be that's quite a drastic change if all of a sudden we are. Eventually, what that would be doing is remove the current trustee rank, and the current conductor becomes trustee.
Again, keep.
I don't agree with that.
Just to make my
They
intent.
can.
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So they can be like different. Like I think like it's now. I think it's like the scrutiny that we like have with trustee can still be like for things with like water placement and what else is with trustee and like that we have it like that. But it's just it's hard to find where it would like. I mean, like what food does could technically sort of work, but like we would have to like defer that, like how that would work definitely. And even if we want to do that, we could defer that. But it's if it's like a definite no, then we can also like make that clear at this meeting. But I would not be against that. Like I think that could be a good trend. Like in a way, it's trusting that like most people are good or something, and that like if we do enough scrutiny, which we will with a system which is like the current conductor system, which we haven't had any real problems with as far as I know, like I think that should still be okay.
To make this really clear, in a way, conductor is a higher level of trustee, if you want to think it that way.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of why I'm suggesting something like this. Again, my intent is not, we're not, again, it's a radical idea, but I'm just saying it because if you have, I'm just saying is if we get to a point where we have a lot of conductors, it starts to not make, like, it starts, you can see I can't. You can see some arguments for like, well, why not just make it something that is available to most people anyway, which would be.
I think the problem with that is then we've got all these people with World Edit, and if it is just something available to everyone, well, the responsibility then for providing it to the few members who don't have it all of a sudden is a staff thing. Because if it's just an extra perk of trustee, then they're under no obligation to help the people that
I
don't have
understand
it.
that. I'm just like, yes, the original intent of the rank it was to do that, but I'm saying that as we add more conductors, the reality is that's going to be less the case, right? Of people helping each other. It's going to be more. It's going to turn more into a rank of just getting rolled at it, right?
So, but to be honest, like I see with with trustees and non-trustees, I see like a lot of people just online helping out, and I think definitely the people who are better at World Edit can help other people who don't have World Edit or have like worse skills with that. I think most people would be willing to help, and there's always a few that won't, but like we can discuss how we deal with that. But like once again, I don't think that's something that we need to have a clear decision on, like how we form everything this meeting, because it's now already 21:40 and we haven't even gone to part 4 for a.
Well, this is probably the biggest topic, so I'm not too surprised we're still discussing it.
Fair.
I think it does need to be discussed. Elite said in chat, like, what if we just recognize conductor as a World Edit application strictly? Like, it no longer becomes the original intent of helping people is no longer the goal of that rank.
Yeah.
I'm just skeptical though that as soon as we do that, conductors are under no obligation to help people, and then it becomes a staff function again. So the whole benefit of conductor is it gives staff additional capacity, whereas now, well, guess what? Staff are doing World Edits for everyone again.
I don't think so, because like I don't see, like, technically you could argue that like it's sort of staff obligation to give like water placements and stuff to non-trustees, but like in most cases that's not what's happening. So that's how I compare it, at least. And like I don't think for many people it's much harder to do World Edits, most World Edits that are asked compared to placing water.
I think one of the problems is World Edits can be much bigger. So if like particularly if someone is wanting something to be terraformed with World Edit with brushes, that's a hell of a lot bigger ask than just placing a few buckets of water.
Yeah, it's. I mean, admittedly, I've not noticed it as much now. But when people are asking about railway tunneling, for example, and you don't know from the offset whether that's going to be a 20-second job or a half-hour job, but that's kind of, to an extent, those big. I've lost what the point I was trying to make was.
Yeah, sorry. It again, just to re-center people, like there's the bigger topic of like do we have too many conductors, and then there's this topic here. Do you guys want to talk about this, the review? I'll ask this: do you think it's a viable solution to solving the bigger problem?
I don't think the review is going to solve the bigger problem on its own.
Okay.
I haven't really seen much to complain about with the candidates, but also I haven't really been watching them too closely personally, so I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. just reviewing for like the same criteria as we do when we bring them on, it'll still just be mostly just a good chunk of the active players. It doesn't seem like it would solve anything, but would radically changing the rank system be the ideal way to solve it either? Or is there sorry, or is there some sort of middle ground? Like, I don't know.
How about this? At the very least, do you think we should go ahead and do this review anyway? Like, it won't solve everything, but it's at least worth doing in some form or another.
I think it is worth doing. I think it sets our expectation that it's not just a case of being active for 3 months, then you can have the rank for life. I think it should be that conductors and like I don't care. Obviously, people take long breaks, even if they're away from the server for a month. But generally, to maintain conductor, you should maintain activity, and there should be a way for us to evaluate that to ensure that is being met.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if we do these reviews, how many people fall off because of inactivity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, if it's a fair number of people, then maybe that, maybe it'll help solve the problem. If it doesn't, and if we find that people are still sticking around, then we need to think of something. Perhaps think of something else at that point.
I mean, maybe we also need to look at better metrics, because at the moment the system is open to gamification. Because if someone were to log on for 2 minutes, then log off every day, as far as our check goes, they have been very active because they have been online every single day. Yeah. But is that hiding some statistics?
I'm in total agreement with you there, Sam. Yeah, the metrics we're using are not perfect. It's just that they're the easiest to get right now.
I mean, I guess we could do something like, say, minutes online, but then that feels a bit, again, like that doesn't make a distinction.
Micromanaging?
Yeah, a bit micromanaging, and also, again, that's less open to gamification, but even just kind of, you've gone AFK for 12, 15, you've gone
well,
AFK
I mean, we could even check because if it's done by a script which is run by an admin with the actual server logs, you could even check for player is AFK messages, and then you could actually check, well, how much non-AFK time have they done on average.
As I think I mentioned in staff channel, there's a plugin called Plan that apparently tracks all this sort of stuff. I haven't gone around to installing it. It might be something I might play around once we update to 1.19. But at the very least, it would make it easier to get that data, Simon, because now we don't have to do it manually or write our own program for that. So yeah. Okay, so just to summarize, it sounds like we're going to try this. Going back to the topic at hand, we're going to try the conductor term limits. Have we decided on when? Because I think there was some debate on whether is it a review 6 months after they became a conductor or every 6 months period. Because I don't know if we reached a consensus on that at all.
My preference would be 6 months after. I think that would even the load over the year, rather than just having one meeting every 6 months where you spend the first hour just reviewing conductors. And also then there's going to be a middle ground. So if someone gets promoted up to conductor a month before this full activity review, well, actually it's not serving much of a purpose for them. So I think 6 months after, and every 6 months further than that after they were originally promoted, is most appropriate.
Does that sound good to everyone? Or?
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Once again, these things don't have to be set in stone. If in 3 months' time again it's not working, then let's relook over it.
Okay, we'll try it. Okay, Okay, so at least for that topic, that's set in stone.
Yeah.
Do we want to go talk any further about the bigger problem, or if there are any other solutions we can look at, or things to talk about there around that?
I can see. Again, this might just be a thing of. Again, say when you slash lists, see. There are currently 9 conductors online. I can see someone, and I don't know if there's a good solution here of the fact that currently we group by rank, and we don't know whether someone would prefer to say, oh, they're a conductor, but they're also a premier, to whether they would prefer that to be the primary information.
I don't think that's the
Again,
real
it's a
problem
minor
here, to
thing.
be honest. Yeah, I think like people know what town ranks they are on there. They can share that information.
Yeah.
I mean, here's a question for you, Frumple. The original purpose behind conductors was because
Hello? Simon, you might have cut off there. Hello?
hello, sorry.
Yep, try again.
So your original vision, Frumple, was that people that were given these additional responsibilities or given these additional perks, like world edits, should have corresponding responsibilities as a balance for that.
Yeah.
Has conductor's been running for a few months? Has your opinion changed at all?
I think so far from what I've seen, again, I haven't seen everything, is that seems to be working as planned, as what we expected. But again, I'm one of my concerns are more thinking ahead of what could happen. It may not happen at all, but what could happen if we continue adding more conductors, it might get to a point where, like, let's say there's like several conductors online at the time, it does add more incentive for someone to, like, say, slack off and not provide help, while the other ones who do want to help do provide that help, right? So again, I'm not there's no specific incident of that happening or I've seen, but I'm just saying the potential of that happening increases.
I mean, what I infer from that answer is that the intent is still that people with additional perks should have additional responsibilities. Therefore, I think we should, at least for now, keep conductor as it is. We shouldn't consider just making it part of a new trustee rank.
Again, that was a radical, crazy idea, so don't take it too seriously. I just also add a little more context. The reason I wanted this to be discussed now rather than later is because if we become, I'm trying to be proactive here rather than reactive, because if we wait till later and then we find that there's so many conductors, like, then how do we, if we find that there are too many or we need to solve it, like, how do you solve it? I think it becomes more difficult to solve at that point. Like, removing conductor powers at that point will not be popular at all, right? If you wanted to demote people at that point. So trying to set the rules now, or at least some level of process now, would be better. Sorry, Sam, does that make sense? Or
yeah, it just makes sense. I'm trying to think of what could be done, to be blunt, but
I don't know.
Yeah, it's challenging.
Yeah. So.
I mean, a very extreme example would literally be we have 40 people. 40 people we know are credible conductors, but we only want 20. Do a lottery for the first 20 are the conductors.
Yeah, I think Jay was suggesting a lottery, which
No, it becomes messy and open to. Yeah, I don't think it's something that should be.
And I think somebody pointed out earlier, if we do a quotas, that's kind of not particularly fair to those who say apply later or want to apply later but can't because we've already fulfilled our quota. Just because people got in earlier, people were able to get in earlier.
There was also, I think, there is a slightly more extreme version of your proposal, Simon, is that maybe these term limits are fixed, in that when they're done, they do get demoted and they have to reapply at a later time. It's just to allow others the opportunity to become conductor. But that also assumes
So we're saying that
stuff.
after,
Yeah.
when approved, they are promoted for 6 months and then would have to reapply. Like they would be demoted after
and
6
then have to reapply at a later, maybe another 6 months or something like that. But again, that implies a quota, which that in itself has problems. But I'm just putting that idea out there as, at the very least, it ensures people are getting they're getting a chance to become conductor, right? So.
Are the current requirements for the rank, are they still in line with what you think would be good? Like, if like they should be tightened, they're more tightened, then that's a way to like reduce the amount of.
I don't think there is a way. I guess the question is, what would we add there to the requirements?
I don't know.
I don't think there is much to add, to be honest. I think I think for the job, for the responsibilities, for the job to be done, like, I don't think there's anything to add there.
I've just seen in meeting live from Ox, from Ox, just closing applications when it's determined there are too many conductors. I'm not particularly in favour with that, because I think that just creates a culture where the first 30 conductors get to keep it almost forever, and then let's say in 2 years' time, new players won't have that fair shot because there already are 30 conductors.
Yeah, and when we'd close, it would be arbitrary. It'd be based on what staff decide, and that's really yeah, I don't know. That doesn't.
So, but like the ideal course that we want, of course, is that it's not that we limit the amount of people who get to help others with World Edit, but that we get like the mod pipeline going again. So maybe we can think about ways we can combine that with like, because like it's not like one like, because you get a conductor that you automatically go towards moderator, but like, if people just stay with conductor their whole life and they just don't consider like, but also because it's an applying for conductor, but nominating for mod. That's like two whole different systems of like getting people, and so it's really easy for mod like endorsing to be like snowing under this way. So. Maybe that's
there's this whole other topic of why are there not enough nominations lately. I'm gonna throw this question to the rest of you staff, but also rest of everyone here. Like, what are the reasons for that? Like, is it because it's just too much work to write nominations? Are there just not enough people, not any good candidates, which is also a valid point? Like,
at least for me, it's kind of that like second point is I don't think there's nobody I feel strongly enough towards promoting them to, like, there's nobody I feel strongly enough that they should be a mod for me to go through the process of nominating, at least at this time.
I think I concur with Foot as well. Is that Foot Chicken, who said people are satisfied with like people's main requirements for staff members are performing services like World Edit and reviewing towns. Well, at the minute, World Edit is being done by conductors where they can apply themselves, and for town reviews, well, actually, the town reviews haven't been delayed, so there's no tangible way of demonstrating how why
the city reviews,
or in other words,
if it started to be that the city reviews got delayed because there weren't enough staff, then people probably would be motivated to nominate more.
Yeah, I guess in another way to reword what you just said there, is moderator a hard sell for people, not just people nominating, but for people to become? Because again, it's like
sorry.
it's like on one hand, yes, you don't have to do world edit as much if you're already a conductor, but on the other hand, you get to issue warnings and deal with conflicts and go talk to people and try to solve these sort of things. That's not, as someone who's done this for 10 years, and I'm sure all the other mods will probably agree.
But
that's
yeah,
not fun.
at that point,
no fun.
At that point, yeah, why would?
And
maybe,
like conductor is something that you do to help others, but you have your own like benefits of. Like moderating, you don't really get like any direct benefits of other than like a better server environment, which if it is all abstract to you and you're content with the way it's going, then like why would you spend all the time on that?
And actually, if we're saying that the perk of being a staff is you don't have to do as many world edits, well, we're actively incentivizing the community not to empower them, because they want as many people doing world edits as possible. Maybe the drastic solution needs to be thought of is, do people apply now to become a moderator?
I mean, I don't
rather than be nominated.
I don't particularly see the in terms of mods not doing as many world edits. Or at least my experience is less of.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, but because we have conductors, why do people need to nominate for mods? Because there's no tangible benefit of having more mods when the only really public-facing role specifically for staff members now is the town reviews, which are running smoothly. Whereas if our incentive for people to remain as and become staff members is you get to lead the direction of the server by participating in these GSMs, you get to enforce the rules, and you don't have to do as many world edits because we have conductors to support you there. Well, should that be a personal preference, and should people now volunteer to become a staff rather than have to be nominated?
An alternative is to go back to the 2012 times and have them basically do what I did a long time ago, is appoint mods to the position if it gets to that point. But I think the reason why we decide not to do that is, some people had some opinions about certain mods getting promoted either internally by staff or appointed by me, and they wanted to be able to say no to that, right?
Yeah, I think it should be voluntary before we, certainly before we go anywhere near to forcing people to take the role.
Well, to be clear, when I say appoint, I'm going to ask them if, just like before, we would ask them if they're even interested in becoming a mod, and a lot of people have said no in the past because they're either too busy or they're not interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, so currently, like the bar for being conductor is, I mean, like you can't really like make it much higher because like there's not much like conditions that you can make more stricter. But like just like the way of selecting is just, there's even the difference there with like the bar, like getting two people to nominate without like you saying anything that you are like interested. Like you can say you're interested, but like you can't like advocate for it. And I get that, that's good, but like I'm not even sure if the if people currently like realize or care that like they can also, for example, nominate conductors, because like nobody is getting nominated and it's like being multiple like GSMs, and it's
it's since conductors are coming around because people don't feel they need to. Okay. I mean, here's a question for the audience listening in. No, Elite, you can't nominate conductors. Conductors have to apply. Here's a question for everyone. Well, for the non-staff, if you could apply to be a staff member, who would be interested? Who would consider that? Like, is this something that would be preferable for people?
Mhm.
Like just seeing if it's like because people don't want the job or that they don't know how to get through the system. Like, and it's probably a mix of both. But like, if we know like the ratio of between those two, like I see quite a few people saying that they would be interested in it. Like,
I'm not seeing too many comments though about it's too difficult. The current process we have is too difficult though. So
But
far.
at the moment, you can't. We don't allow people to ask other players, and other players, I don't think are incentivized to nominate because they have world edit support.
And the reason for that is because it's to ensure that people who are becoming mods have at least the support of some other people rather than them applying. Yeah. Okay, just to keep the meeting moving and so we don't get hung up on this, can we make a topic for next GSM to talk about if I guess reforms to mod nom process, or how we select mods? Does that sound okay to people, or
Yeah, that's fine.
something else?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
looks good.
Okay. So again, going back to 5A2, we are going to go through review. We're going to try it out, see what how things go. It's not a full solution for the bigger problem of starting to get too many conductors, but we'll go with it for now. And if we need to, we'll revisit that later. I guess on a related note, there's 5A3 demoting conductors. This is mostly just my. Basically, when we started the rank, we didn't really define how the procedure is, like in what circumstances I would need to demote conductors. Obviously, an activity is an obvious one, but I'm just wondering about any other circumstances where that should be done, and I don't know. We never discussed this part.
I think for me, the two key criteria are activity on the server, or secondary, if people aren't willingly giving out those world edits. But if they're active and they are giving world edits, I don't think we have many other options to.
Sorry.
Pending warnings being issued, as you've stated otherwise.
Yeah, warnings I think are pretty obvious. Like that's because we already don't allow, if you already have a warning before you got conductor, you don't get considered. But I guess that latter part, Simon, where how do you evaluate someone how do you evaluate how helpful someone is being? Like it's very subjective, right?
I don't know, to be honest. It's not like we have a ticket system where we can count how many world edits people have done for others. There's not many metrics other than just experience on the server.
Exactly. I can only
But it becomes very, very subjective.
Yeah, I mean the only thing we could really say to that respect is, people effectively calling in saying, yeah, this happened, this incident happened, and they've not been helpful at all. But even then, that could be misconstrued, and it's not. There's no.
Like the only way you could really do it. The only way you could really do it is by anecdotal evidence, which is not ideal at all. So but otherwise you could just have someone who's just all the time just not helping at all with world edits. So I think we need to determine for ourselves a metric, like how much evidence do we need, and we need to fact check it with in game what happened, because it all happens in game. It's not on Discord or anything. So we can see or at least the admins can see, or I mean in many cases it's just in general chat as well. And I think in some cases people who have that happening to them, that a conductor is not helping out, should just call it out in general chat, and then we know it happens.
Yeah, like admins can see the console log. That means we can see all the help op commands.
Yeah.
So the most clear cut incident I'd say is if someone's got those help up, or maybe in just general chat saying I would like a world edit, and a person doesn't respond, that's a clear cut case. But then there could be cases like, you know, the staff wasn't, or sorry, the conductor wasn't paying attention, they were AFK, they were busy with something, like.
Yeah, so one case can never like be it, because like I don't think that like for one case where there's always, for if it happens one time, there's always a good reason that happens. So
We do
we
it
need to
undercover
look for
boss style,
patterns.
where the staff make new member accounts.
M6.
Just to be clear, this is not a new problem. We've had problems before years ago with staff allegedly not helping out with world edits or even just other requests, even though they were seemingly more clearly available or doing something else. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just putting this out there as if there is a way to measure it, but it's starting to sound like, yeah, like we're just gonna shrug and like do our best, I guess.
Yeah, I don't really feel that there could realistically be a mechanism to objectively measure how much a certain staff has been willing to give bullets. I don't think there's a measure.
And there is also the bias of if somebody's more likely to be on at times when other conductors are, they're more likely to have fewer edits, just, you know, by laws of averages. But whereas if somebody's on, they're the only conductor on for hours at a time, then yeah, of course.
I mean, maybe that is a metric we can look at, and I don't know from Humble Apologies. I haven't really looked into that that activity measuring plugin you mentioned, but could we almost factor in login time when there wasn't any other conductors online? Is that possible? So that way we're ensuring that conductors are covering those quieter gaps if they are the only conductor on for 3 hours of a day.
I haven't looked at the plugin too closely in that sense, but if there is a way, then maybe we couldn't use it.
Well, we could probably even just analyze our own logs with a program to look at who is online with what other conductors.
Yeah, but overall, it sounds like it's going to be mostly subjective. Like most of it's just going to be subjective measures.
I think the only real way to get a definitive is solely on activity time. I don't think there's a way of measuring it on number of world that it's given or how supportive someone is.
Well, so again, some example, like in terms of subjective measurements, like I think there are at least a couple ways. Like, you know, a member could just file a complaint with staff, and then we can look into it. I guess another way maybe is you know, there are a lot of times when there's multiple conductors on. If conductors notice, or even members notice that, you know, some conductors are doing more world edits than others, maybe that could be sort of thing. But again, hard to prove. It's all going to be. I would hope people will call out people if it seems like they're not there, but I don't know. Like that's all I can really think of at this point.
Yeah, again, most of the time when I've been online, I've seen just conductors just doing a quick, you know, message into the chat, on it, or I've got it kind of within a second or so. So even that's not a very good metric, because generally it's whoever's got the fastest reaction time who can reply to that message quickest that gets it.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Okay. Well, it sounds like there's not going to be, at least at the very least, you know, activity and warnings are probably causes for someone gets demoted, but the rest of it, I don't think there's much action we can do there. So I think we can move on from this topic.
I think the one question we haven't answered is Mojang Protocol. We said we were going to go back to number one when we discuss the other topics.
Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up.
Okay, let's go back to number 1 then. What should we do here?
Okay, I kind of changed
Honestly,
my
I don't
mind.
care.
Because like I don't know, I don't think it's like that big of a problem that they just the fact that like they protocol is in game like right now or like just yet. I don't see him right now, but like he was in game just yet, and like Moj is also pretty active, I'd say. So I think I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it personally.
I think it's more of about setting a precedent. If we are deciding for all further conductors, like, to reapply, why not just let the ones that have already done it reapply? Like, if we just let them be, that is in a way special treatment.
Fair, yeah.
Right? So
I'm in agreement there. I think they should be demoted. I have no problem with them immediately applying next GSM, but I think they should have to be demoted.
I think I'd be up for kind of a hybrid approach of they keep the rank up until the next meeting and just apply then.
It becomes messy then where they're conductors, but technically they haven't been approved. But
Mm.
I mean, I think I concur with Yoshi. If they are active enough, they will easily get through the process. So let's just let them apply.
they've already actually had a free time up to this GSM because, right? So
Okay. I am going to. Yeah, it appears that we've reached a consensus on motion protocol.
Yeah, it's 30 days ultimately. It's not big.
I want to recap 5A on the minutes, just in case if I missed anything.
okay.
Well,
If
should we go
that's
through the
okay?
whole thing just for
Yeah, like
all of topic 5?
Yeah, all 5A.
Oh, sorry, all of 5A. Yeah, with you.
Yeah, that's what I said. 5AI, effective immediately. Staff cannot resign directly into conductor and must apply for the rank at the following GSM. Moj and protocol should be demoted to premier immediately, but be allowed to apply at the November GSM. I think that's all on this topic, or for 5AI, this subtopic. 5A2, conductor term limits. We will review the activity of each conductor every 6 months. As of when they are promoted, i.e. we will not do an at-large batch of all conductors all at once. A topic regarding the future of the mod nomination system will be proposed at the next GSM. Agreement? Or did I miss anything?
I just want to add a note. So for the first conductors were in July, correct, Simon? That might be.
Yes, July.
So that means the next. So for the people who are conductors, who were promoted at that point, that means the review will be in January. Okay. So.
Yeah, I think I'll send a message in staff to decide after this meeting. But I think just for the sake of balancing that load, rather than having, I think it was 13 instantly promoted, I think we should spread it out over the 6 months. But we can chat about that after the fact.
Yeah, we'll figure out a way. So okay, cool.
Even if that is just random draws, you're in January, you're in February, so on and so forth.
Vicky, did you also mention 5A3 or is that still upcoming?
Oh, that's still oncoming.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Demoting conductors. A singular warning will result in immediate demotion of conductors. We will investigate a plugin to evaluate activity in a more objective and thorough manner. Other measures, for example, how willing they are to give world edits, will be subjective and evaluated on a case-by-case basis.
Sounds good.
I think that's accurate. Yeah, thanks for all that, Vicky.
Okay, I just want to make sure I got everything because I was zoning out for a bit.
Yeah, sorry, it was a lot, but yeah, it'll help at least because we need to make this clear to everyone so they understand. We're on the same page here. Let's go vote on conductors then. Going back to section 4.
And just to confirm, all these people have met the requirements that you put for the activity, correct?
Yep.
So,
Staff.
I just posted the document in Meeting Live for people that need a link.
Yep. So staff, there is a document that has all the responses. It does also have columns for the number of logins and number of days they out of the month. So you haven't looked at that. You may want to just check that.
Oh right, yeah.
So
Sorry.
so if you want to evaluate really on an activity, yes. But for pretty much all the candidates, I would say, at least when I talked to Chief about, they reached the minimum that we would expect.
So Hut said in the staff channel that he was going to vote neutral on all of them, but he also said that he didn't really look into the candidates. Should we even count those votes?
I am going to say if Hut hasn't messaged me directly, that's not a vote. Again, he has not. So the only absentee votes I have are from 7D, Missa, and Chief. I guess I'll have to use the random.org thingy. All right, so the first candidate we're looking at is Haffy Crafty. I'll call your name out. So Empol is not here. I am going to vote neutral. Simon?
4.
Needham?
4.
Missa voted... Where is his vote?
It's still 4.
4. Oh, you're here.
4. Oh, you're...
Hi, Minsan.
Hut, I'm not counting it because he didn't send me anything. Dinty didn't send me anything. 7D voted 4. Skelly? Skelly said neutral in chat. Sinra's not here. AP?
4.
Chief voted... Oh, where's Chief's vote? Dang it. Chief is voting neutral. Tom's not here. And finally, Vicky.
I'm voting neutral.
Okay. So what is that?
So Tom, Empolo, Dinty, Sinra did not vote. And Hut.
Yeah.
I'm presuming, unless absentee ballots say otherwise, we can just assume did not vote for the rest of them for.
Yep, I did not receive anything. So, do we want to discuss this? It's 5-4 to 4 neutral, if I'm correct. Yeah.
Sorry, is that 5-4 and 4 neutral?
5-4. Oh,
Zero.
0.
No against.
0 against. Yeah. I don't know why I put 2, but no, it's 0 against. The reason I went neutral is simply because I don't know Happy very well. But a lot of people trust him, so I am willing to, not official now, but I'm willing to listen to them and potentially change if.
I'm in the same.
Wait, so sorry, what is the... I thought we were already going... I thought we were already on the verge of promoting, no?
No, the how this works, Simon, is we vote and then we discuss. Does that...
Yeah, but Vicky was talking about being convinced to change, but I'm wondering why we need to change if it's... Like, yeah, we'll discuss it, but never mind.
Yeah, so, yeah. We're now at the discussion stage because we just had the votes. So, but like, as it stands now, it would be a promote, right? Or...
I guess at this point, it's more like if you want to vote even more for something. Like
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Increase the threshold, not threshold, increase the margin.
Or alternatively, if there are concerns that maybe other people don't know of, some of those 4 votes could turn neutral. So it could go any way.
So I work regularly with Halfie on projects, and I've also seen him help with planning for extensions and stuff, and really helpful, really working with the community, and I am happily voting for him. So from 4 to still 4.
Yeah, likewise. I don't think I have quite as much experience with Harvey as Needham does, but from my interactions on the server, I think he is excellent. I think he already does support people. I've certainly seen him help people, either just answering questions or helping them with water placement, so on and so forth. And I think he is very qualified for the role.
Yeah, same reasoning here as from my interactions with them on the server. I'm confident enough that they will, do well in the role.
Okay. Any other comments? Any changes in vote?
No.
Okay. Upon hearing that, it is 5-4, so that is a promotion.
Congratulations.
Next up is London. I will note for this candidate, London did vote. Was a candidate in the very first batch in July. If you don't remember your vote from back then, you may want to just review that before you vote here, just to make sure if anything's changed or remain consistent. Okay, so going through the list again. I think showing up as a first again. I'm voting for. Vicky.
I'll vote neutral.
Okay. AP.
I'm neutral for now.
70 voted for. Missa.
Neutral.
Okay. Senator Tom Polo. Simon.
Neutral.
Needon.
Tough one, but I think I'm going for 4.
Dinty. Skelly.
4.
Okay. Hut and Chief voted. Chief voted for.
Okay, that's 5-4 again.
For me, the reason I voted neutral is I just don't think his reasoning is particularly convincing. I have no problems with him as a person going for the role. I just think it's fairly lackluster write-up for why he wants to become one.
That's fair.
That's a part of my reason, but I don't know. He's had a bit of a history, so I'm just not sure. You know?
History is kind of why I'm on the side of neutral, but recently it's not so ancient history. It's not recent as to block entirely. And
That's also true.
I do believe that they have improved and changed since. I just don't know whether that's enough, possibly.
You know, once again, I have kind of just mixed feelings on it, so I'm just staying neutral.
Oh, sorry, Vicky. I think you're putting the votes into Lexi's.
Oh shoot! Did I?
Just cut paste. Yeah.
I was getting confused there.
Yeah. I'm voting for because I voted for in July, and nothing's really changed in my opinion of London. I do acknowledge that he has a checkered history, but if I voted for back then it must have not been an issue then. So, yeah.
But where's the document again that you can see what you voted like last time? I couldn't find it, so I just voted.
I'm not sure it was recorded. I think in July we just recorded the overall vote numbers.
Check the minutes.
No, there is a document. I actually looked at the video. Look in the staff docs. There is a document for all votes that have happened. I actually watched the video and recorded each and every one of your votes. So.
Oh, just in the general. Oh, moderator conduct a voting record. I see.
Yeah, it was a bit of a hard one because I had to look at the Minecraft block and match it to the grid.
No.
Yeah, I think there was one where my vote was attributed to somebody else and vice versa.
Yeah, and you kept changing your votes during the meeting, so I'm like, yeah.
No, let's see, where was
So, any other comments about London? Any changes in vote?
I voted 4 back then, actually. I'm actually going to defer to my judgment back then and change my vote to a 4.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna do the same. I think I voted 4 back in July.
Okay.
I'm staying with my vote. I have confidence enough in Londi now, and yeah.
So, Mr.
Hey.
Confirming you're changing to 4?
Oh, I was still at 4.
Okay.
Okay, so Miss and I changed our votes to 4.
Okay. So now it is 7-2. Any other comments, changes? Okay. Congrats, London. You were promoted.
No, actually, for Lexi. Sorry.
Pushing the randomize button again. Let's do this. Okay. AP, you're up first.
4.
70 voted for Skelly.
Neutral.
Missa.
I'm gonna go neutral for now.
Okay. Center, Tom. Simon.
Neutral.
Polo. Oh, wait. No, Polo's not here. I am going to vote neutral. Dinty. Chief voted neutral. Vicky.
I'm voting 4.
And finally, Niden.
Neutral, but I can be swayed to 4.
Okay.
Bit more of a, well, not necessarily split, just neutrality.
Yeah, it's 3-6 neutral right now. I voted 4 just because I've gotten to know Lexi a bit. I know Lexi also has a bit of a checkered history, but I've gotten to know Lexi quite a bit, and I think they do qualify and can do the job reasonably well, I think. So that's my justification for 4.
That's my pretty much the same here. Is from what I've seen of them, from what I've seen of her on the server and just generally Discord and everything, I have full confidence in them.
Yeah, Lexi, as far as I know, is pretty mature in what she does. Only like comment I really have is that like one time she asked for like help with like a world edit, and it involved like cutting away like in a diagonal railway, just cutting away the terrain, and then she disappeared like for I think a week or 2. And then when the Lakeshore West extension opened, then it was like I had to do some emergency like terraforming around it to make it look good. But that's been like, I don't know, when was Lakeshore West? I think a few months ago already. So
Was that more?
Yeah.
Is that just a miscommunication, or did you just Lexi just disappeared, or I'm not like I don't know.
well, I think it's just miscommunication. Like she knew that she had to fix the terrain, but like it just was quite a lot of terrain that was like just cut away all at one instance. Not one instance, but like with those schems paste, and like yeah, just if other people have full confidence that like she like will use water responsibly, I don't have like big concerns, but like if it's a bit in the air, then like I think yeah.
Do you know when that was, Naden?
That was just before the Lakeshore West extension opened.
That's been a very long time, hasn't it?
No, it's only been 2 months.
Yeah, it's not that far.
Oh, I was thinking the other Lakeshore West after the one.
Oh no, that's been a definitely long time. No, the one I worked on with Pretzel and DNA and Yellow, Jay. Yeah,
Sorry,
so
I got mixed up between Lakeshore.
that's fair. But I think it was a one-time thing, but it doesn't like I'd rather be safe with that than sorry. And yeah, just I don't know why are the other people voting neutral? Like maybe
Yeah.
I can like
I'm
leave that.
neutral solely because I don't have enough experience with Lexi to vote in favour.
For me, I can definitely understand, and I definitely agree actually with some people saying like Lexi's completely, almost completely, like definitely way improved than say a year ago. But I just like to she's only been very recently rejoined the server, like in the last 3 maybe 6 months. So for me, I think I just need to see a little bit more before I can make a full 4 decision. So that's why I'm voting neutral for now. Maybe if she reapplies 3 months from now, I'd probably be more in favor.
Yeah, that works for me.
My reason is the same that I put in the chat. In principle, I don't want to be waving everyone into conductor anymore. I think Lexi would make an amazing conductor, but I'm only going to vote for people if I have a compelling reason to think that they'd really be an awesome fit and would really add a lot to the position.
Okay, Skylar. Let's understand.
What does that mean though when they're giving world edits to people?
Sorry, what are you asking, Simon?
I'm just confused with Scully's logic. Like, what makes an amazing conductor? They are like, they do world edits for people.
Well, I don't really want to be. If in the past, in the weaker, I guess in the past, I'd be willing to wave people in with a 4 vote if they met, if I felt that if I just felt that they'd be okay and I'd take a chance. But now I feel like it's better to be more strict on that.
Okay, yeah, no, it's just the way you said they had to be amazing. I just wasn't sure what that meant in a conductor context, but
It might mean maybe more like they have to be really helpful. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm putting words in Scully's mouth, but I can see like they have to really show that they really want to help people. I guess that makes sense.
Well, if you guys have a problem with my voting strategy, then I can change my votes. But
I think
no, I just didn't follow what you were saying. But
yeah, no, I think
I'm
if you
happy
want to
with
vote that way, Skelly, I think that's a valid way to do it.
I get your logic there. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah. All right. So any further opinions or vote changes? Okay, hearing none. Unfortunately, Lexi is not promoted at this GSM. Okay, next up is Chimada. Sorry, folks, if this meeting's taking so long, but we'll try to get through this here.
It is what it is.
Yeah. All right. First up, Needon.
That's neutral.
Okay.
But yeah, I have a big yeah. That it's I don't want
You can elaborate after. Okay. Let's get the votes through.
Yeah.
AP.
Neutral.
Missa.
Neutral.
Simon.
neutral.
Vicky.
Neutral.
Chief voted for. Okay. I'm voting neutral. 70's voting for. And Skelly, you're up.
I think I'll go with 4 on this one. Somewhere between 4 and the neutral, but leaning 4, sure.
Okay.
So that's a 4 vote, just to make sure.
Yes.
just a rather confusing file.
Okay. Needon, since you really wanted to elaborate.
Yeah,
Elaborate.
so so I had like a while ago not a while ago, like 2-3 weeks ago, I believe, that I was doing some world edits, yeah, for Chimata, and it was about like pacing stations in, if I recall correctly, and one of them was a station in the middle of nowhere, not near a town. Like the town, like it was claimed, but it was not. There was no town there, and
Like in a insignificant settlement.
yeah. So there was literally the MRT station with like nothing built yet. So that and he also had plans for like 2 stations at one also claimed, but like the claim was unvalid by that point. But also with no development, and one station planned at a station at the town which had one building like 200-300 blocks away. So I said like, hey, that's not how it's supposed to go, and like he changed that, but like I'm not convinced that like maybe he learned it by now by me saying that, but it just kind of rubs me in the wrong way that like that just happens, and that like yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's a wrong like assumption of me that like he
No, I
would
think that's
not be able
fair.
to follow
That's
correctly.
Maybe
that's a genuine concern that you're not sure they can give world edits in accordance with MRT server rules. So I think that's a pretty good reason to vote neutral.
Yeah, to me, Needon, it sounds like you're questioning their judgment or their ability to.
Yeah, and I like the reason I'm not voting against is because like it's not like he really went against that, but it's just like maybe more an not understanding rather than a not willing to understand. Which
Interesting.
I mean, like as a conductor, where you are doing like big world edits, like you need to still understand that.
Okay. Skelly is changing their vote to neutral, so let's reflect that. I'll add on to you what you're saying, Needon. Mine's a very, I would say, a minor incident. I actually don't remember exactly what it's about, but I did find Shimada's requests to staff. This would probably be many months ago. I found their tone to be a bit demanding, maybe even entitled.
Mm-hmm.
Like I just didn't feel like they really, at least at the time, like with staff, like respected our time when it came to, things like world edit requests or stuff, that sort of stuff. But it's a general feeling I have. That's that. So that's why I'm voting neutral there.
Should we let Shimata say something? Because it seems that Shimata wasn't aware about what you brought up, Needon.
If Shimada wants to say something, they can do it in chat.
Well, I was trying to make sure that Shimata even heard what Needon said, and apparently they did not hear what Needon was talking about.
Okay. I'm gonna say, for the purpose, if Needon and Shimada need to talk a way to, if there was a misunderstanding or miscommunication there, then they can talk it outside the meeting. But for now, we will go with the vote as is.
2-7, neutral, did not promote.
Are there any other comments, or at least I'm actually kind of curious about 70 and Chief's 4 vote, but they're not here to unfortunately justify it.
Did Chief say anything in his absentee ballot, or just 4?
No, either of them just simply said 4 neutral. Basically, there's no reasoning addition to it. Okay, given that there are no comments or further vote changes, then I think we're going to go ahead with not promoted at this time. All right, the 5th candidate is Beggett. pushing the random button again. All right, first off is Simon.
Neutral.
Chief voted for AP.
I'm gonna vote for.
Missa?
4.
I'm voting for Skelly.
Neutral.
Vicky?
Neutral.
Needham.
I'm voting for.
And 7D is voting for.
Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4 for neutral.
The only thing I'll say here is I've interacted with Spigot quite a bit, and they actually helped me out earlier today with some beta server testing. But overall, I've seen them be pretty friendly with others and pretty helpful with others. So, based on that, I don't see a reason to not vote for.
Yeah, only reason for me to vote neutral was lack of experience. Nothing against Spigot.
I'm the same, really.
Yeah, no, I don't have that much experience with doing world edits for Spahit, but just the general like experience with like just them in game has been good, and I haven't gotten any signals like that their attitude was wrong about world edits or that they like mess up world edits. So yeah, I'm confident.
Okay. Any other comments or vote changes? All right, hearing none, Spigot is promoted to conductor. Congratulations. Next up is Conric. I'm voting first or second. I'm gonna vote neutral. Chief is voting neutral. AP?
Neutral.
7D's voting for. Simon?
I'm actually going to vote against.
Interesting. Okay. Skelly?
Against.
Uh-huh. Vicky?
Neutral.
Needham.
Neutral.
And finally, Missa.
Neutral.
Okay. I am curious about the against votes, if you don't mind. Yeah.
Nothing against Comric as a person. I'm just looking at the activity stats, and of all of the candidates, it's significantly below for all of the 3 months.
Yeah. Just to be clear, and I guess some of the people know the out of all the data that we collected, Conrix was probably the most borderline. He only was on for maybe 8, 9, 10 months, like 8, 9, 10 days the last 3 months. He does provide some justification that he was away, but to me that would, even with those numbers, I would consider that like the bare minimum in terms of.
With those numbers, I am going to change my vote to against.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm also going for against.
Yeah. It wasn't enough for me and Chief to say ineligible completely, but we decided let's let the staff decide on how appropriate would be.
I'm not. I'm with that in context. I would say against. I'm kind of on the fence there.
If you're not
You
sure,
could stay neutral.
Yeah, you can stay neutral.
Yeah, I'm
At
sticking.
this point, it'll be a veto anyway. Or well, it's a 4 against, so no, it wouldn't pass.
Okay. Any other comments or vote changes? In that case, Conric is not promoted, unfortunately. Okay, and there's two more. Okay, pushing the random button. Next up is Era's Trad. All right, first up is Chief, who is voting for. Next up, 70 is voting for. I'm going to be voting against. It's not a veto. Needon?
Neutral.
Vicky?
I am voting for.
Okay. Simon?
4.
AP? AP?
Oh, but sorry.
Yep. Voting on
Oh.
Era's Trad.
Neutral.
Skelly?
Neutral.
Missa?
Neutral, but can be convinced for 4.
Okay. And that's it. So I guess I should explain myself.
Yeah.
My against vote is strictly on personal interactions with Eras. I found him to be, maybe not recently, but maybe in the last few months, there was some instance where I found him to be very cynical, very combative. I think it was mainly about, I think the topic that we were discussing was whether things on the server were owned by members, like in terms of like ownership, or whether they could like cut, like copy things out and stuff. And I just found his attitude to be really off-putting. So yeah, that's me.
Sorry, I definitely didn't see any of that. My interactions with Eris have generally been positive, and I generally feel that he's still a good fit for conductor regardless. I'm not sure if that conversation is isolated or if it's part of a larger pattern, but I guess we'll see in due time.
It wasn't, and to be clear, it wasn't enough for me to veto. It's just, again, a personal interaction, and not a pattern per se, but it was just something that really, it was a singular thing that happened. So
I just can't say I've got enough experience to vote one way or t'other.
Same.
I can be convinced either way, but
Definitely same.
okay, are there any other comments or vote changes? It is currently at 4-4 to 1.
So it would barely miss. If one person voted for, then it would swing the vote.
Actually, I don't think I can be convinced to full. Like, I have literally no experience with them, like barely any. And yeah, just like what Frumple says, it doesn't say enough for me to say no, but it definitely can't be a yes for me. So
can somebody who's voted for explain why?
Just personal interaction for me. I do get on well with Ares, and I think he would do well in the role.
And unfortunately, 7D and Chief aren't here they didn't provide any comments.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed, but 7D has a certain pattern of voting. I think you can guess what he's going to vote next. Just letting you know. So, yeah.
Well, that's 70's own personal philosophy, so I would appreciate comments, though.
That is true. Maybe next time I should insist on, if people are voting this way, they need to provide comments.
Skelly asked for 30 seconds.
Okay, you have 30 seconds, Skelly. We wait in anticipation. Erez, I'm just going to say this to you right now. It's not just the combativeness, but when I asked you why you're being combative, you didn't really provide an answer. So I'm like, wasn't sure what to do at that point. So.
I'm going to change to 4.
Okay, so that's AP? Not AP.
Yes, AP.
Now I'm mixing everything up. Sorry.
Okay. I'm going to change to neutral based on what errors is telling me here. So.
And Skelly's also put a meeting live to flip him to a 4.
Okay.
So it's 643 neutral. At this point, it is a promoted.
Okay.
Unless if anyone changes negatively.
Any other comments? No? Okay. All right. Errors is promoted. And finally, Woorich 999. Chief is up first. He's voting neutral. Needon.
Neutral.
Skelly.
Neutral.
7D is voting for. I'm voting neutral. Missa.
Neutral.
AP.
4 actually.
Simon.
Neutral.
And finally, Vicky.
Neutral.
Okay. You're the only 4 vote who's here, AP, so why?
So, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm going to sneeze at any moment. So, my interactions with Rich have been, well, nothing but positive, particularly with. I mean, main thing is with the A51 kind of connecting that up, and I seem to work well with them. So I feel like they'd be a good fit. Like my interactions since they've returned to the server have been nothing but positive.
I haven't had any real interactions with Rich. I just don't know. I'm not sure if that's the same for all the other people voting neutral, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm similar to Frumple. I really actually haven't seen much of Rich since he's returned to the server. I'm not saying that he hasn't been around. I just haven't seen him.
I don't know if this is an appropriate. Well, I do get a sense that he seems a lot more low key after the ban and all that. Like he's not bringing attention to himself. I'm not necessarily a good or a bad thing. It's just like he's just not noticed. If that makes sense.
Yeah. But of course, fading into the background does not make you stand out in a positive manner for conductor. So neutral for me still.
Or at the very least, it doesn't show. It's not helpful in showing if you're a good fit for it. So yeah, I don't know. Okay. Any further comments or vote changes? Seeing none, unfortunately, Woorich is not promoted for a vote for 2 to 7.
Also, I just realized, I'm not sure how I didn't notice, but 4A conductor candidates in the minutes was below all the conductor candidates. So I'll move the heading.
Oh, thank you. That's fine. All right. So how many conductors is that? That's
4 new ones. That is Harvey, London, Speggett, and Aris promoted.
okay. Cool. So congrats to all 4. We'll get you set it up after the meeting. I'll figure that out, or Simon will. Okay, let's try to get through the rest of the meeting because there's actually still quite a bit. Jumping ahead to 5B, the Discord forum channels. I'm going to be honest, staff, I put this here because I made that thread in staff. No one really not too many people commented on it. So I'm like,
Oh.
I'll just put it here and we'll discuss it here. So.
I've been meaning to bring up another possible suggestion.
Okay.
Bring forums to games specifically, like have a thread per game, basically. So like fans of, yeah, like for example, there could be theoretically like a Pokemon thread. I know there's a KSP thread running, so we could put that in the forum as well, for example.
Are you fine? I guess my question, I don't look in games that often, but are you finding that the discussion interleaves so much that maybe forum threads would make it easier to discuss?
That's the thing. That is just a thing I thought about. Nothing that I'm really too strongly for either way. I wouldn't mind it not being the case.
Okay. I mean, Pretzel says it's a great idea. I'm not sure if anyone else has any opinions about that. It is a very specific niche usage of forums, but I don't know.
I've no opinion on the games thread.
Yeah, admittedly, I don't look at the games channel very much. I can definitely see, however, that being a very good use case of it, of having something per game, and you keep your Pokemon separate from your city skylines, from your.
I don't really feel like games. There's so much discussion in that channel that it would warrant forum posts. Would it get spammy with the different amount of posts that would mostly not have a lot of posts, or?
Sorry, Skelly, can you repeat that? I didn't understand.
Like, I don't think there's enough discussion within games to warrant different forum threads. Like, I understand KSP already has a thread because Vicky and Lego and a couple others frequently discuss it, but I don't think any other game currently has that much following to warrant a thread.
Granted, one thing I just thought about is how often do people just not talk about something because they feel that it would annoy people because of it's a specific niche game?
That channel is barely used. It's not really used that often.
Yeah. Well, looking at chat, I'm not really seeing any, like, other than Pretzel, I'm not seeing any, like, people say, yes, please make games a forum channel. So, Fred, okay. So based on that, I'm not sure if this is something we can consider later on, but I'm not sure if it's something we need to do now.
I think for me, there's two channels where it makes good sense. I think it makes sense for the hash forum for discussing of GSM topics, because there naturally will be very different discussions for the different topics, and they can get interleaved. I also think planning would be a good use case, because that can get, if there's multiple suggestions out there at the time, that it can often overlap and interrupt each other.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. The MEPS server, the extension line planning server, already splits things off into threads as much as possible. So I can see, forums being a natural extension for that. So keep your roads planning separate from your rail planning.
Oh, funny, I joined that Discord just to frown at everyone today. Anyway, so can we go back to request to staff though?
I don't think request to staff should be. I think it makes it more difficult for the staff, because then there's 4 or 5 different sub channels they have to check, whereas at the moment there isn't any discussion in there. It's simply someone posting a request for 90% of the applications.
But in what I've noticed is, in terms of people keeping up with those requests, I have noticed some of them don't get responded to in time, and they get lost. That's kind of why
I just think that would still happen though. Just it would happen within those sub channels. It can still.
I don't. Just to be very clear, like my idea of it is that the topics are closed as soon as the request is done. I think that it also, if it's closed, I think I have to make sure, but I think you can remove the post too. I might be wrong there. Like, my idea is request to staff should only show the active requests at the time. Actually, maybe we should test it out.
See, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just deleted the post from there, and it did delete.
But that's not a closed post, right? The closed posts are still there, so that's not... It's not great, because in case we need to go... If you delete a post, then that history's gone forever. That's not necessarily the best thing. Okay, so...
See, I could see it going either way. I think it would need to be, like, piloted. Because I could see it going strongly either way.
I think there's a simpler solution, which is for request staff, which is if we're finding things are getting lost, rather than give a check mark, can we delete that message?
Okay. Bargain from Wolfhaven is chiming in. Hi, Bargain. Is saying that having a ticket-based system for request is much easier to follow up and check on requests, and that's basically my justification for having requests as a forum channel.
Should we, like I said, should we pilot it for like, I don't know, 30 days or 60 days? Or well, for like 2 GSMs and then check back up on it?
Do you guys want to try?
Because
Yeah, I'm happy to put. I mean, I don't think we need 2 GSMs. I think we'll have a good feeling after 1. But yeah, I'm happy to pilot it. I'm just concerned that it's a lot of overhead for quite a simple channel. But happy to trial.
Yeah, there are. Yeah, for most of the quests in that channel, yes, it's probably that I did put as a con. Like it is probably more of it. There are some cases though where we need to discuss a certain request, and if it's like if it as is, sometimes those discussions get interleaved with other requests, and it gets a little hard to follow. So, yeah.
I would arguably that could be solved with better thread discipline, but
Threads aren't really. Threads are a
yeah.
whole bit other problem. Like, yeah. I wonder if also there might be a bot that might help with that, but I don't know.
That's what Leech just put in chat. Is there are ticket bots, and I mean, could even add it as a cog to tackle bot.
Yeah. Okay. How about this? Let's try request to staff as form. If it doesn't work out, we can always go back to. I'll be archiving the request to staff channel right as it is right now. If we need to just restore it, then we can just put it back. So.
okay, and then we'll evaluate it in November.
All right, and then forum is, I think, pretty. I don't see any arguments against foruming forum. It's in the name.
Yeah, fair.
Okay.
Probably just specify in forum that it's like topic forum or something like that, because a forum channel called forum just seems to be, I don't know, fairly broad of a name. So that's the only thing I have.
I see your point, Vicky. I don't know what else you'd rename it to, though. Also, if you read the topic, this is my intention is forum will eventually be part of the ISM replacement at some point, but that's that's a topic in December's GSM. I don't know if anyone had any thoughts about what I wrote there. Like, we don't have to go into too much detail about it, but it's just, you know, for the future.
I think if we do that, it in some way may discuss people just making forums over things that they may not necessarily want going to ISM currently, or may consider too minor.
It might be
but,
sorry. Let me just clarify. Like, I'm thinking we could split it forum into 2 channels. One for just general like community issues, like Section 5 stuff, and then there's another forum for ISM topics only. That means that way at least then we know that these are the topics upcoming for the ISM, or not. Sorry, there's no ISM anymore, but it's just that's going to be using a different system, basically. Like the topics will be there for 2 weeks, and then they'll be done. They'll be evaluated asynchronously. If that makes sense. Again, I haven't fleshed out the ideas on how this is going to work, but that's one way to do it.
The only issue there is there are some members, particularly those that aren't 13, that aren't in the Discord, so that could then become prohibitive to them to make road requests and such.
That is true. It starts to become more of a, like, I'm trying to balance pros and cons here. For me and for members, I feel like the pros may outweigh the cons, like in terms of less meetings, less overhead, but also members don't have to wait for a meeting. They can just easily they only have to wait a certain time period for their topic to be approved or rejected. But that's for December. I don't want to rail on this one too much. So forum will be a thing. Let's talk about planning then. Do you want a forum? Do you want that to be a forum channel?
I think it makes a lot of sense in planning.
Yeah, I think the general context of planning is that people there's discussion about individual items, so the choice is either threads, which quickly becomes pretty cumbersome, or have it be a forum, which I think makes the most sense, because it is often there could be 2 or 3 plans actively being discussed.
Yeah, there's not a subtopic for planning right now.
We're adding it ad hoc because this is what people are suggesting.
Okay, 5BII then in the minutes.
Sure. Are there any arguments against having planning? I'd be okay with it, but I'm just wondering if people don't want it for whatever reason. I don't know what is with forum channels. No one's discussing them, so people are like kind of about it.
Forum is much better than thread.
Yeah, that's true. Forum is better than thread.
I'm glad that threads exist, but I think if we can make use of forums, a much nicer way of just organizing things.
Okay, do you want to try planning as a forum channel? I guess.
Yeah, I think we can request that. I mean, we can review them all next month if there's any particular concerns with any of them.
Sure. Or if there are any other ones we could add to, or add to. Okay, let's add. I'll set up that later. Okay, so planning.
What was the consensus on forum again?
Forum, yeah, we'll do it. We'll try it too, but that one is probably out of all 3 of them. I think that one's probably gonna stick around.
Okay. Did you suggest making multiple forums, or are we just going to have one forum for now?
That's for later. That's for December, when we review ISMs and whether we want to keep doing those. But for now, that's for any topics 5 to 10. That'll be the place to do it. I guess there's some overlap between forum and planning, so I'm not sure if that's where people decide where to put it.
I mean,
forums for
maybe,
GMC topics.
Maybe in due course, planning is just for overall discussion. You make a thread in forum
for actual topics.
For an actual topic.
Yeah, it's submitted. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
And plus, people have stuff that doesn't need a GSM topic in planning. Like, for example, planning within their town.
Okay, cool. All right, and just a quick note. I was thinking about media and event, but I don't think it's a good idea. I think the cons outweigh the pros in that case. I don't know if anyone had any comments about that, but I'm just putting it out there because I can see someone suggesting it at some point. Okay.
I still think that the discussion channel should probably be. I see the kind of more pros in discussion channels just being threads off of the main whatever announcement.
Oh yeah, sorry.
But,
yeah, actually we missed something because 7D brought it up in the agenda. If you look in the comments there, I think we were discussing whether to keep the discussion channels. Correct? This was like, I think this was proposed when I wasn't here, and then you guys decided, or some staff, whoever decided, we would look back at this in 3 to 6 months, but that never happened, as far as I know.
Actually, I think that's a really good idea. It keeps it all in one single place, and then it automatically archives itself after X number of days of inactivity.
Okay, so we are merging the media. We're kind of merging them. We're making them threads off of media announcements.
Well, I'm just trying to think. Are there people who would be against that though? Because I remember that, if I recall correctly, that discussion was a bit.
When did we discuss it?
70 said. Oh, where was it?
I'm looking it up right now. Media issues.
It was proposed somewhere in July 21 when threads were rolled out, and the option I mentioned was to be reconsidered at the October. Oh, sorry, that's 2021. So July GSM was when it was proposed, and then it would be reevaluated at the October GSM, but that never happened.
Well, I guess we're reevaluating it now.
Might as well.
Sorry, what are we evaluating?
Removing media discussion and event discussion and just saying people should create threads off of the parent topic.
No, I'm gonna be honest. I find, from personal experience, I find threads are way too easy to miss. I'm thinking about the time when I actually asked someone about a proposal, if they had an MRT proposal, if they had run it by Frumple because of the MRT line map extension of the MRT extension map stuff, and that Frumple had actually talked with them before in a thread, but I didn't see it because it was in a thread and I didn't even know the thread existed until it was pointed out to me.
But I think something like media discussion, media announcements, where a discussion is by and large going to pertain to one particular announcement, I think it makes more sense to kind of keep the threads there.
And plus, it'd be easier to figure out what a particular person's talking about when they really say something in regards to the a particular media announcement or event announcement.
Skelly, what channel was that thread in? Was it in planning or something?
It's just in planning.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. Would that sort of scenario apply to media or event announcements? Like, because it is a little different, right?
Right, because in media announcements, there's no discussion, right? Each person sends one message at a time, so it's harder to miss a thread that you're interested in that channel than it is in planning, where there's some discussion even happening in the channel itself rather than in the thread.
I am also looking at Actually, I'm not sure. If you look at media discussion right now, there are some people who are saying "woo, yes, let's go." I'm not sure which one it's referring to, but if we get rid of the discussion channel, that sort of means that if they want to make comments like that, they have to make a thread for just simply expressing excitement about something. So I don't know.
Or I mean, you could react.
Yeah, is that the same as saying? Yeah, I don't know.
In my opinion, the pros outweigh the cons there.
Should we also try this out and revisit it at the next ISM?
I just figured out I had myself muted all this time.
Oh, sorry.
So
Go ahead, Needham.
yeah, so I just wanted to say, like, with media announcements and also with event announcements, there's often a lot of like videos and like long titles, and like with threads, like you miss like the context of like whatever is like said after. And with forums, you like miss half the post, so you have to click on everything individually and then leave it again, and then so that's also more cumbersome. I'm for keeping the status quo.
Okay, so the only conclusion I can see from this is that it's contested. So yeah, do we want to defer to next GSM? I know we deferred it already, but it might be
if we're reviewing forums anyway, let's just have a general Discord discussion.
So Discord discussion. What do you mean, Simon?
Because we're already going to be chatting over the request to staff forum conversion.
Oh,
so let's just chat over all Discord discussions in.
But in this case, it's not about forums; it's about threads.
No, but it is still the Discord.
Well, no, you know what I mean. But, so okay, let's defer to the meeting's going along. So let's defer this to next meeting. I would encourage just for all members and staff. If you have an opinion about this, I would encourage you. Maybe we need to make a thread about it. Or actually, I'll make something in forum, and we'll have a topic there, and people can put in their the comments about this specific thing about media and event announcements, and then we can go from there. But my impression is I don't think there's consent. I have a feeling we're not going to be able to get consensus. It seems a little split to me. So yeah.
So just deferred.
Deferred. I'll make a channel or topic in forum channel. I'll figure that out. Okay, moving on. 5C. Oh God, no! Another air facility rule change proposal by Elite Neon.
So I've put a comment in here which only staff will be able to see, but I don't really think this is tangible reasoning. The only reasoning he's really saying is because we doubled seaplane gates, we should double helicopters. But I don't think that is necessary. And actually, I think the MRT airline industry is doing fine and doesn't need a boost.
Yeah, I'm the same. It doesn't need it.
I concur, Simon. I don't see enough justification for this change.
I don't have enough care about the airline industry anyway to have an opinion.
That is fair too. Elite's providing response, so let's wait for him to type that out.
I'll be gone for 20 seconds. I need to swap the battery in my headset.
Okay.
I'm tired.
Yeah, we'll get through the rest of this, but I'm just waiting for Elite to type his response.
And I'm back.
I guess I'm kind of glad that we have a long GSM.
Who is the one who keeps having the keyboard clack? Oh, that's needed.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I'm okay with hearing it.
Speaking of keyboard, I'm definitely in need of a new one eventually, but I'm in the need for a lot of new things sooner or later. So.
All right. Elite says Senator airfields could fit upwards of 20 pads each. Mayors are stuck at 2. I understand not wanting to approve though.
I mean, using that logic, senators literally have like infinitely many more airplanes than mayors do. I don't see it. No.
Yeah, governor towns could have 60. It's just depending on the size of their facility. It's just a natural progression that you earn.
I mean, look at LAR. It's just kind of a thing.
I love LAR. Hub function for life.
Okay. Any further comments? Because it's starting to sound like nah to this topic, unfortunately, Elite. So.
Nah, not approved.
Okay. All right. Not approved.
Easier project. Yeah, easier.
Yeah, finally through community issues. Only 2 hours and 20 minutes in.
I'm actually kind of sort of glad we have a longer GSM, to be honest. I kind of missed these weirdly. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, I mean.
Oh, sorry. Wow.
Sorry.
Moving on to Uwu Town Canal by Chimada. There's a map. It's actually a series of canals.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Just one issue. Since Shimano is not approved for conductor at this GSM, it would be nice if Shimano could get some sort of sponsor, just to make sure these world edits are done.
I mean, we don't need sponsors for these projects.
Are you sure about
True.
that? Because I remember some previous canals we needed at least some, not a sponsor necessarily, but at least some staff member at that time to be able to do it, or someone to do it.
I didn't think we ever had for canals, but I mean,
I might be wrong. I don't remember which canal what it was, but I do remember there was some case where long ago where we had a canal approved, but staff, like there was no staff to do it or something. I might be misremembering.
I was also thinking maybe Noah's Canal. But...
And actually, we've got conductors. There's a lot more bigger pool for Chimata to reach into.
That's true. Skelly, yeah, it might have been Noah's Canal. I think about it.
It's just something that I noticed. But I mean, it's fine, regardless if you are fine with it.
I was just going to say, I think the only project that explicitly needs a staff sponsor is MRT line work, be it new line construction or modification of existing track, because that will need world guard, dyne map, so on and so forth, changing.
Yeah. This is literally just making a ditch in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, so are you approving this?
Yeah, approved, I think.
Okay, yeah, let's approve it. All right, next up is the other transport project, the B400 from Quinston to Peach Bay. It does go across water.
I feel like that 4-lane section looks kind of long, and I personally want to see a bridge design for that before we have them going across that sort of body of water.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's actually a good point. Like I was gonna say, like it cuts over a relatively small portion of the bay, so that's not an issue. But like just building at like such an angle, and like you really need some really good skills to be able to pull that off. And I'm not convinced that that's the case with Krakow yet.
Does anyone have the coordinates of location? I'd like to have a look on dyne map.
I had some difficulty.
Where's Quinston?
Yeah, I remember doing it on my plan, but I don't remember where it is exactly.
Yeah, I remember seeing Quinston as well. It's near the Mesa. I'm not sure if it's like the southeastern one or not.
It's got to be Zeta terrain because it's got the wall motion.
I'm there now at Quinston. So if you want to TP, you can do that.
Oh, look on dyne map. Thank you.
Oh yeah, fair.
I mean, there's a much shorter bridge from potential from the west of Peach Bay.
Oh yeah, I remember. Oh, I see.
Oh, there's.
Yeah. What's the town? What is that? A separate town west of here? It's familiar.
So this complete town here is all Quinston. So the entire contiguous area. Oh, that there.
Also, just to check with them being online, Zubod, you have approved this, haven't you? Because Krakow hasn't said in the proposal. Cool, thank you.
You also worry about how it's going to connect at the other end, because like here it's 3 meter wide roads complete for the entire width. So
at the very minimum, can we reject this for needing a bridge design at the very least?
Yeah, sure.
That could work, yeah.
That's a minimum. So is there anything else you'd want to ask Krakow for, like a road design or a different route or something?
The route seems correct because like if you look at Beach Bay, you can't really run a road through that. So and like it also, I think it takes the shortest route, like using islands, small islands to get there, and like the coast. So I stand by that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
rejected for or denied. Krakow will need to resubmit a bridge design, given the nature of the road now.
and just for anybody reading the agenda, this was originally for the IS. We
Maybe you're breaking up. Can you repeat that?
those reading the agenda who can't see the comments, this was intended for IU. However, with some discussion with Cracker, this was put onto the GSM with it being sooner.
Okay, so it kind of works out because you're gonna have to propose it at the ISM as he originally intended. So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. No events. Kraka again would like the town of North Haven, currently owned by Camel, been offline for 2 years.
So hasn't been stated in the actual text, but going off the DM conversation, I think the prime reasoning here is for the 2 gates at North Haven's airport. I'm not convinced that is great reasoning, to be fair, for wanting to take over the town.
Yeah, as far as I know, Krakow has no particular attachment to North Haven, so I just don't see the need. Like, I don't think Camel even has ever known Kraka, and Kraka's not really needing it besides for the gates. So.
Something also worth noting, Cece's mentioning on the wiki, both Camel and Chimpy are noted as mayors. I'm not sure how that works, or how that got there, but that's a little weird.
Hold on, the town list for North Haven.
There's a wiki link for people.
Maybe they meant mayor and deputy mayor, but I don't know.
If you wanted to specify deputy mayor, you probably would have specified it explicitly. That seems, yeah.
In the town list, Chimpy is DM and Camel's mayor.
Okay. I think in this case, the town list probably takes precedent over the wiki, because the wiki can be, whatever. So, we'll just, yeah, Camel's probably the primary person to talk to about that. But going back to the IAT, are we leaning toward no on this because of that reasoning?
I'm personally leaning towards no, but I'm not sure about consensus.
I am likewise leaning no.
Okay.
I'm neutral, so I'm okay either way.
And specifically, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry.
Specifically, it's the reasoning is not sufficient, is why we're rejecting it. Just so I know, because
Yeah.
we're in town.
Leaning towards against this.
Okay. Not seeing any 4, we'll reject this one. The other IT we're looking at, and this one was submitted just within the deadline. I had to get some clarification from Tar. But this is for Lugton Beach. Original owner is Lutet. They did. I did ask Tar if they had contacted or attempted to contact Lutet. He says that he has tried to mail them. I'm not sure about the time frame, but it does look like Lutet's not on the Discord at all.
Can I just request a nicer map for future proposals? Because I can barely read what's written there, and there's like no town names labeled.
I would agree. Yeah, the map is not the greatest. There needs to be labeling of what the heck the red and blue lines mean, because I don't know.
Isn't there a town or something like directly south of like where the blue lines end? Like that would probably be it then. But like it should be clearly labeled, so we could even defer deny it just based on that, because like he doesn't say like where he does want to what he wants to IAT like on the map. So
That is true.
I think the red line. Actually, no, I don't know. I think the red line is meant to be the warp rail he wants to construct, and the blue is the canal routes.
Which isn't relevant for us. We just need to know which town it is and like maybe the reason why, and then it can be interesting. But like we don't obviously know which town it is. So
well, they've got coordinates.
okay.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I think reasoning's good here.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
So
I would be happy given this.
okay, so there's a 4 there. What what do the rest of you guys think? Like,
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the proposal. I just wish the map were a little easier to understand.
Yeah, I'm at the town now if anyone wants to teleport.
oh, this is fancy.
It's a very nice town.
Do we know who or is there a deputy mayor at all that's active, or is it just?
Is it, we could check maybe someone can check the town hall. I don't think it's.
I'm checking the town list. Not registered.
Yeah. Does it say where the town hall coordinates are?
Deputy mayor has his empty desk, so
May have never been assigned, perhaps.
So it's an unregistered town, so technically it's not protected anyway. So have been in favour of transferring it.
Yeah, there's-
well, it's not protected with 300, 500. It's still like mayor's office.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I see no identifying signs of like a deputy mayor, so like I think we can assume that it doesn't. Wait, let me just go one floor up again. No, it doesn't have an office for that. So as far as we know, there's no deputy mayor. So yeah, and either way, I think it's a pretty solid like proposal. So I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that'd be
here's-
fine.
So approved. If you want to, if you want to complain about the maps, feel free to tell Tar yourself, because I would agree that the maps are not the best at all. So.
And now it is time to talk about the Zeta plans.
Yeah, 9A. I don't think there's much to discuss here anymore because I countered everybody.
Rubber stamp time.
Unless there's any, like, Simon said he's okay with my plan. Jay's retracted his. Does anyone have any comments?
No, for me, I just wanted an overall direction which this new plan provides. I'm very happy to conform with your vision, Frimple.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's nothing on this on this plan which seems terrible.
Yeah, and I think this is, of course, just like a basis. Like, this isn't like all MRT lines have to conform with this or anything, obviously.
And there's no Q line yet, so I don't know where that's gonna go. But yeah.
I have ideas.
Okay. Okay, cool.
I know. Yeah, I know. Previously, we did discuss about the current D44 to 69 stretch. I know Yoshi was saying, how about we just abolish it as part of the MRT? And to be fair, I'm not opposed to that because it pretty much mirrors the southern line for that section.
Yeah, it is more work though, and I think I saw somebody was saying that they wanted to actually propose.
Hi, that would be me. I am wanting to build basically that section. I might divert the western section of it just because it is still like too close to the southern line. But that'll be more for the future.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's been entirely underground as well.
But my idea is I want to build the quote unquote night line mostly above ground. And then when the desert extension is built farther south, then the rest will be decommissioned and will be kind of like the southern line in Gamma. I will also want to skip a few stations because some of those stations are very close together.
Fair enough.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So there is precedent for just closing stations with no replacement. CEN 33, where the jungle line platforms there have just been shut down completely because they're not needed anymore.
Yeah, I think the southern lines, old southern line stations in Elecna Bay, I think my Bodhi has removed them, or at least some of it. So, yeah. I mean, if they're not used, they're not used. Okay, let's go on to 9B.
Before we move on,
Sorry.
can I just say, but obviously it all connects into that southern west area. but can we do something about Chiefs Western extension, because it's been in construction now for over 2 years, I think, and it's still only a few stations complete.
Yeah.
I checked it actually earlier today. I think it goes to WS13, but according to the corporate tech data, he has not worked on it in 90 days.
Okay. I'd be in favor. Again, obviously, talk to Chief before you do it, but instead of all these other extensions, I'd be in favor of someone else taking over that project. So, you know, if you want to do
Oh,
that,
it must be 12. I know it's past Hamblin.
yeah. From what I've heard, Chief is super busy because of Project Parallelogram. So he's not going to...
Project Parallelogram, yay!
He's not going to have any time in the near future, I would imagine, to start working on it. So we definitely should pass it on to someone else.
Once again, as far as I know, all that really needs to be done is just track.
Yeah, connects up the track, connects up the stations. The hard part's already been done.
Track's the harder than pasting stations.
Simon, do you want to take over it at all, or do you want someone else?
I would rather start on the Union, but I can certainly take over from it after that,
Okay.
if
Well,
Chief hasn't made progress.
It could be anybody, so...
I'm might put myself forward for that. It's been ages since I've done a proper MRT project.
I mean, to be frank, the line has been improved, so I think if anyone wants to, just have a chat with Chief and he can transfer it. It doesn't have to be an ISM or GSM anything.
Yeah. Okay, now moving on to 9B, the Eastern South Extension, Cracker Crepper, and 7D. I propose this. It's fairly straightforward. It follows my plan to go through East New Brazil and Marisol, followed by Fork.
it's a short extension, only 3 claimable stations, which is fine.
I'm full.
Yeah, likewise, I'm in favour of this.
Yeah, I'm in favor.
Were there some
Yeah,
comments
I'm
about
favor.
the track? Sorry, I'm just looking at the comments here.
But that's a good one, yeah. The elevated track. Like,
Yes, Simon says your comment here. Can we clarify that they'll be doing a raised section with pillars?
So yeah, just because the picture isn't great, but I'm just not sure. Particularly that stretch on the left, it looks like it's just quartz all the way down to the grounds, and it's going to be pretty ugly if it just carves through the landscape with no like underneath.
Do you think it's a major enough issue to reject and wait for clarification from Krakow, or?
I mean, I'm happy to approve on the. I don't think that will be the case. I think it's just a poor photo, but I'd be happy to approve on the assumption that it will be raised and it isn't going to be just solid walls.
Okay.
Okay, so conditionally approved, basically.
Yeah, I guess we just need to look, like, as they build it, or we can just ask, or we can just watch them build it and see what it actually is. If it is a humongous wall, that we can stop them at that point.
well, it's important that we like let them know that like it wouldn't be okay if it's like a wall. Like if they don't know that, then that's also not fair. Yeah.
Well,
I will make a point to contact Cracker and I'll feed back to the staff.
Okay.
Okay, and I put it in the minute, so
I'll put it in the
hopefully we
results
remember
notes
it.
too. Yeah, so they'll know somewhere or another. Okay. Next up
So is that-
oh, that is approved. It is conditionally approved. Just on that one little clarification. So.
Okay, so Union Line, Section 1.
Thanks, Simon, for addressing my comments. It looks a lot better now.
Okay, yeah. I had the old extension in my mind, but this looks fine.
Aside from it being a nightmare to read,
I'll put white
open
boxes
the
over
image.
text.
Open the image.
Yeah.
Like, click the img link.
Yeah, click the MGear link. It's a lot. Your resolution gets a lot better if you do it that way.
fair point.
The problem is it's an east-west line rather than north-south, so it has to fit into a tiny box.
It has to.
Yeah, this looks sensible.
just a side question, because I know in my plan the line either went through Mountbatten or that other city or the southern alignment. Is there any reason why you chose that way versus the other way?
I just thought it was appropriate to visit Mountbatten as the more significant town in the region.
Okay, fair enough.
Because it's governor, I think.
It is governor, because remember, it applied for premier at some point and got rejected.
Yeah, yet another Moj town that's going to become triple premier or something. Yeah.
Would it be quadruple premier at this point?
I don't remember.
No, just triple.
No, yeah, it's just he just has Deadwish and Chanbei right
He
now.
only has 2 premier cities at the moment.
Only two.
yeah.
Or now. Okay. Any other comments about the line? It looks.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, and I definitely, of course, Simon has a very, very long history of building MRT lines, so I just generally will defer to him.
On that, it being the dark grey basalt, I mean that makes sense. It's kind of like circle, but outer circle.
Yeah, I just think the sake that this is going to meet every other line, the best way of making sure you don't have any confusion at the interchanges is to mirror the circle's colour, but just to make it slightly different. I think smooth basalt looks nice.
Yeah, it does. I'm fine with it.
If anyone wants to see a sample, if you go to my home called Staff Map, I've converted all the templates there.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
That's my graveyard of MRT parts.
I have a massive bunch of them in my staff home too, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I've been using a little bit of peek into the future. I've been planning out the interchange station between the Southern and Union at Ellerton, and the basalt works quite well there with how I've been designing it.
Yeah, that interchange is gonna. I didn't really note it in my plan, but it's gonna be that's gonna be a huge interchange because Desert and maybe even Nightline might. Not Desert. Island Line might also intersect there.
Just a heads up, the meeting perms have expired.
Well, we're almost done.
Yeah, I think isn't this like the last topic?
Do we need?
Yeah.
Okay, just talk in main chat, guys, if you need to talk, because we're on station allocations. I don't want to do the permission again. Okay, so if there's anything else, we're gonna move on to 9D. Simon, you've allocated some stations for Northern Zephyr.
Yeah, I think the most controversial thing is that both Toth and Aquatic both requested ZM59. I put the reasoning there, but I thought that Toth's request was more fleshed out. I'll note that although Aquatic Area didn't put a second preference there, they have been assigned a station on the Jungle South line, so I didn't feel too bad about not being able to allocate them anything.
Okay. All right. Looks good to me, unless there are any objections. Let's move on to 9E. Nobody claimed anything. Wow.
I think it's partly because 2 other extensions open in this meeting. Partly because this opened after the other 2s.
Okay.
Even if there's only 1 or 2 applications, I still think it's beneficial doing it this way, just because it prevents it being a battle of geography for where you are in the world if you happen to be here when the line opens.
All right. So that's that, and then finally 9F. Missa, any comments about these allocations?
Not really. There were 3 applications, and each of the applicants submitted a different station as their first choice, so it's pretty straightforward. I see AP left a comment about the allocation for JS46, so I looked them up in the member list, and it seems like when they sent in the application, they misspelled their own name, so I put a follow-up comment with their actual username.
Considering their username's kind of hard to spell anyway, they would be surprised. Okay. Cool. All right, that is finally we are at the end of the meeting, but or at least at the end of the topics. We are going to open up to Q&A if there are any final questions or comments or concerns. If you want to go back to anything referring to any of the previous comments we talked about, this is the time to talk about them. So yeah, if you have a comment or thing to say, then you can. No, we're not done yet.
Sorry.
If you have a comment, just DM me in game or on Discord, and you can have a chance to speak. Otherwise, we'll wrap this meeting up. I don't know, every time I ask this, no one ever says anything. They just.
I'm still typing in the minutes.
I think the questions used to be when the meetings were closed, so we just come and announce everything after 3 hours of internal deliberation.
Okay, I have 2 requests. One is from Elite. I think you can guess what it's about. And the other one is Yoshi with the K line. Yoshi, I'm gonna let you go first because, yeah.
In the meantime,
Yoshi's in this channel. Can we drag them into?
Yoshi, it's up to you. Do you want a VC or do you want to ask your question text? It's up to you. You can click the request to speak button in Discord. Okay. Yeah, push that button.
Invited.
I've never
Hi,
pressed the
Yoshi.
button before. Hi. Yeah, so the decision on the night was that it would exist, or what was the final decision? That was a little unclear. I think Simon clarified. I just wanted to double check.
I mean, according to the
K
plan,
line.
you can exist. Yeah.
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 I
I
guess
think
if
Vicky wanted it to create it.
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, I don't know if would there be a place for, because I don't know. I think I've talked to Front about this, and I know Simon about this. Is that I personally think that the line should the K line just kind of feels like it's cluttering the Southwest, and in my opinion, it kind of just doesn't really fit well there. It feels like it's a more third party line than anything. And I was wondering if there's like, I guess, a place where I could bring up these concerns. Or I guess would it be now, or would we do a forum thing? I don't know what the process is. Especially, it's not like a line that exists or a formal plans in place, I guess.
Well, my argument with the K line is I feel like it's even more work to remove it. So.
Well, I don't think we would have to remove it. We just have to say this is no longer MRT, and it becomes, as you said, similar to the stretch of Southern in Elecna Bay. We just say this is no longer part of the MRT network, and
Yeah,
it just exists as a third-party line.
And if I remember correctly, the only thing that we need to do is remove the diamond markers and then just remove the regions, which, if I guess Simon correct me, that shouldn't be that much work since you've done that with Lakeshore before.
Yeah, no, that's quick.
And I definitely done region editing as well during the stations. The stations list review. So I could definitely do that.
Yeah,
I
don't know.
sorry, the one thing that. Go ahead, Rumpel.
I kind of want to keep it, to be honest. I don't see the point of. Yeah, that's me. Go ahead, Missa.
One thing about this decommissioning that particular part of the current desert is you'll have to redraw a pretty long part of the line, not the station markers, but the line.
The line's not too bad to draw.
It's also typically drawn by extension as well. So it'd be done back to
right, but that extension spans 2 different extensions.
Yeah, but it'd only take 15 minutes to redraw. It's not that prohibitive a process.
At least I think there was the little thread about it. And I think some other people agree with me. I don't remember who it was, but it was a thread in. It was either forum or planning. I don't remember where the thread was, but I knew some other people agreed with me, and at least wanted to bring it up because at least I feel at least somewhat strongly about it, and I just wanted to at least give my opinion and let people know that there's at least some other opinions that also, I guess, agree with me as well. I just didn't know, I guess, we could, talk about that.
Alternative maybe is to make the night line completely low priority and maybe just defer it to some other time, because there are a lot of other lines that arguably would probably be more beneficial to build up. We can come back to it later, but I don't know. I'm okay with building.
I think the problem is it has to be decided at when the desert
Desert is
reroutes.
and Mesa.
Yeah, because a lot of other reroutes kind of, I don't know, kind of,
Take from it.
yeah.
Then maybe when the desert line reroute proposal is made, maybe at that point it has to include what to do with that section. Then I think that, to me, that makes the most sense. Or I guess the
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just want to build it to get it just out of the way, right?
That's fair.
I don't know. I think I agree with the thing. It should. I think because I think that Frumple's proposal kind of I think is the best of both worlds. Is that if we make it a low priority and we kind of basically it only existing, the only pressure on it having to exist would be the extension of the desert line. So whenever someone extends the desert line, making a decision for that, I think, would make the most sense, and it kind of brings balance to the people who kind of iffy about it versus those who were kind of leaning forward about it. But that's just how I see it, at least.
Yeah, I'm kind of ambivalent about it.
But yeah, I might like do the other lines. We'll see. But I do want to work on it too. If that makes sense. Plus, it'd be nice not having the section just completely underground.
Yeah, but I think that one, I don't know, I think making it a broken doesn't necessarily alleviate the fact that I think most of it's underground, to be fair, but I get what you're saying.
I put it this way: in the Inky's time lapse of it, it was just punctuated with hold music.
All right.
I guess, yeah, well, I guess if we can wait for the proposal when that comes up. I just wanted to ask about when we would bring that up, so yeah, thanks.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to jump out here to head to bed. Bye all.
Okay. See you, Simon. Elite
Bye,
had
Simon.
a serious question, apparently. 1, 2. Elite, do you want to talk in... Oh, yeah, there is a request to speak. How do you do this?
I'm also gonna head out now. So.
See ya. Invite to speak.
Hi there. Before I get on with the you-know-what, I just wanted to ask, because I'm a little bit confused, are we considering, deleting a part of an MRT line and not replacing it? Like, are we considering, getting rid of part of the desert line and, like, not replacing it with a part of the night line? Because that's what I thought I heard, but I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
I could speak.
Yep.
I do think I have a better alignment in mind for a part, not all of it, but a part of it. That I think will just work better in the context of the surrounding MRT lines.
No, what I'm trying to ask is, are we going to be cutting MRT service to certain towns and not replacing it with more MRT service?
I will say the section that I'm considering removing, the only thing that will be completely disconnected is New Singapore.
So wait, we're just going to, I'm sorry, I'm just a little bit confused here. So we're delisting a part of MRT line and not replacing it?
Yes.
Oh.
At least that's the thought right now.
Yeah.
Preliminary.
I think I also remember that there were some people against that, if I recall correctly. So I don't know.
That just if I may, that just seems a little bit weird. I'm not opposed, but it just seems strange. Like I don't think I've ever considered the fact that an MRT line could be decommissioned or part of it anyway, like and not be replaced by something. But that's besides the point. I don't own property down there, so I was just confused. But going on to the you-know-what, I forgot we had this GSM today, and I report favorably from the trustees as the only voter that the Seattle Mariners have been nominated to trustee, and Conrail and the concept of nationalizing the U.S. rail network has been promoted to trustee. Railroad Workers Solidarity, Elliot Neon out.
Okay. Not really a question, but just a statement. Before the next GSM, DST is ending for Europeans, but not North Americans by the next GSM. Because it's like within that time span when Europe gets off of DST, but before North America gets on DST. So just keep in mind, know your DST and know when the meeting is happening.
Yeah. As an aside to that, it's a quick exception to that for the UK. BST ends on the last Sunday in October. So it is ending at 2 a.m. on Sunday, the 30th of October.
Okay. All right. Are there any other further Q&A things? Because I want to play poker now. Okay.
Fly Clipper Jets.
No. Okay, so this is the end of the GSM. The ISM is 3 weeks from now.
I'm sorry, Fred has a question.
Fred, where?
Meeting live.
Oh, okay. Meeting live. Okay, Fred, what's your question? It's not in game, so I'm not seeing it because it's not connected. You need to request to speak or something, Fred. Fred, is this a serious question or something silly?
Well,
Caught you there, huh?
you got me.
Okay. What is it though? Oh.
Damn it, I forgot. Sorry.
Do we need to get the big cane to pull you off stage?
Yes.
I think what Fred means to say is, hi, I'm Saul Goodman. Did you know that you have rights? The Constitution says you do, and so do I.
I don't have a good bit for this
Fred, why
question.
are you in
Sorry.
game so I can shock you? God damn it.
Because I knew you would shock me.
I'll just shock an elite instead. Anyway. Okay, this is the end of the meeting. Goodbye. Poker starts right after this. Go to events.
Poker?
Thanks for
I
coming.
hardly know her.
Oh, shit. God.
Shut up, Fred.
The event.